For a decade, Elvis Andrus has provided the spark that ignited the Rangers' most successful period in their history. We've seen him grow, from a rookie who announced his big league arrival with flair,
Andrus sends one in the right center field,
to the veteran leader who makes the big play when it's needed most.
Base hit, and that'll do it. And the Rangers have walked it off on the Royals.
He is the consummate professional, but not afraid to have a little fun, too. Elvis Andrus is the heartbeat of the Rangers, and he is back.
Yes, indeed. Everyday Elvis back in uniform tonight. The Rangers and Royals opening game in a 3-game series here in Kansas City. Great to be with you tonight, folks. I'm Dave Raymond alongside CJ Nitkowski. The Rangers here on the road now after a heart-stopping, really exciting, fun win yesterday on Father's Day back at home. But now to the road, and the really exciting news is they get Elvis Andrus back. Another roster move for this team as they continue to shake things up. But Elvis is back today in uniform. Just one of a handful of moves that the Rangers have made here today. Elvis back. Ricky Rodriguez joins the team, but Jose Trevino, even after the great moment yesterday, no longer a Ranger.
Yeah, and that part is unfortunate, but you got to make the roster moves. What I think is interesting about this, of course, is that Isaiah Kiner-Falefa now will be the backup catcher, and we may even see him get a start in this series against the Kansas City Royals. So you get some reinforcements in the bullpen with Ricky Rodriguez, and then, of course, Ryan Rule was sent down last night after the game. So 2 on the roster, 2 off. A little bit of a change here, but a big one with Andrus back.
Yeah, very big one. First time he had ever been on the disabled list in his career, and he is a difference maker with his team when he's playing.
Yeah, he certainly is. And go back to last year and what Elvis Andrus did for this club. 2017 was a career year for the Rangers shortstop, and it was a lot of fun to watch. It was the hits that we saw, of course, the consistency of those hits, but then the home runs, 20 of them last year for Elvis. It was a monster season, the 88 RBIs as well, and really what he provides to the lineup, the balance, that new high OPS at 808 for Elvis. It was just an unbelievable season for him and what he continued to do, driving the ball all over the field. And so we wondered, what would 2018 bring for Elvis? Well, he got off to a tremendous start. You see what he did over his 14 games, the great average, that OPS well over 900. Unfortunately, it was only in 14 games because of the injury, and so now we have to see, with all that time off, will Elvis be able to bounce back and show us what he showed us at the beginning of the season?
Of course, we've seen his buddy, Adrian Beltre. He just comes off the disabled list and knocks out 2 or 3 hits a night like he's never taken a day off. Well, Elvis, it'll be a different story today. We'll see how he fares. And for a little more on Elvis's return, let's check in with Leslie McCaslin.
Well, guys, no surprise that he is ecstatic to be here. He told us before tonight's game he feels like he has his life back. Of course, he just spent a week in the minors on that rehab assignment. 7 games, just 1 hit. Jeff Bannister joked before the game that's because he was saving them all for here. This is what Elvis Andrus had to say.
The beginning, I was lost for sure, but the last 3-4 games, I was able to have good at bat, seeing a lot of good pitching, making good swings, and that's what it's all about right now. So I do feel comfortable and in confidence right now, and just to go back and just start playing again. And I don't think it's gonna take me too long to get back on time.
He did get some grief from his teammates in the minor leagues who said, "We thought you were coming to help us out." But Elvis said he treated it like spring training. He tried to get his rhythm back, and hopefully he's done that. And of course, Elvis isn't the only one who will hopefully put on a show tonight. Bartolo Colon is on the mound here in Kansas City. We will put Big Sexy in the spotlight next.
Rangers baseball is sponsored by Ford. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer today. Ford is the best in Texas. And by Southwest Airlines. Low fares, no hidden fees. That's transparency. And the Royals' opening game in this 3-game series here in Kansas City. Well, Leslie teased us going to the Shiner Box Spotlight, and of course we're going to go there. We're going to put that spotlight on one of the big guys in the game tonight.
Well, Bartolo Colon, he has been doing it for so long, and he's not the only one. 243 wins, that is tied for the most by a Dominican-born pitcher. He would like to be standing on top all alone when it is all said and done. Bartolo Colon has been pretty special throughout the course of his career, but to see what he continues to do at age 45, tying up really good big league hitters like he has done over the course of his career, the way that he has evolved from a power pitcher to a guy who uses that two-seam fastball a little bit more. And take a look at this, the last 5 starts by a pitcher that is 45 years or older. Some pretty good names there, not just guys that are old, but guys that were really good. Of course, Roger Clemens and Randy Johnson, all of those Cy Young awards that they won throughout their career. Bartolo Colon joining some pretty interesting company.
And you got to be good to keep pitching at that age. Well, stay with us. When we come back, John Radigan, Mike Bassick, and Mark McLemore, they'll take you deeper into tonight's game, give you a look at who they would pick to click tonight. tuned in tonight as we get ready for the opening game of this 3-game series. How about this work right here? Don Wakamatsu with the lineup card. That's so good, CJ. I almost can't read it.
I wonder if Banny would feel bad about marking it up when he's got to start crossing names off and everything else. That is a piece of art.
Very well done. Now, the Kansas City Royals, they have struggled here lately. And you look at what the Rangers have coming up in their next 4 series. First, this 3-game series against a team last in the Central Division. We'll head off to Minnesota to play a struggling Twins club. Then back home, Padres in town, last currently in the National League West, 6 games under 500, only to give way to the White Sox, who might be the biggest mess of the 4. So right now you look ahead at the next 4 opponents for the Rangers, and you would think to yourself, hey, we've just won 2 to head onto this road trip, and maybe now is the time to make a little run. Well, we'll find out. It starts tonight as we take a look at our Southwest starting lineup for the Rangers. Shin-Soo Choo red hot as the DH leading it off. Elvis Andrus at short, Nomar Mazar in right field. Then it's Beltre. Jurickson Profar getting the start at second base. Joey Gallo in left. Chirinos catching. Guzman at first, and Delano DeShields out in center field.
And they'll go up against the right-hander, Ian Kennedy, the veteran, 33 years old, going tonight for the Kansas City Royals. And here's that pitch arsenal. 56% of the time he's thrown a fastball that has averaged 92 miles an hour. You see the curveball, the changeup, a slider. Every once in a while you'll see the 2-seam fastball as well. But heavy 4-seam usage, and it's been a problem. A 321 batting average against that pitch, including 8 home runs this season. And behind Ian Kennedy, the defense tonight for the Royals, it'll be Gordon Almonte Herrera in the outfield. And in the infield, Mike Moustakas, Alcides Escobar, you see Mondesi there, Dozier, and Steady Eddie, their Iron Man, Salvador Perez behind the plate.
So with that, Choo will make his way to the plate, kindly waiting for us to finish all of our pregame traffic and see if he can continue his hot streak. Choo every single day just gets on base and keeps that streak going. It's at 31 consecutive right now. And he takes very high for ball 1. Now underway tonight. What did I say, 150 degrees? Did I hear that right?
What was it?
150 degrees at game time?
That sounds about right.
If I caught that correctly.
It's not even that bad,
I'm
really.
just kidding.
Maybe because I have a fan on my back.
1-1 the count. Yeah. So 90 degrees with a heat index of 96. So that's warm. But they can get a little hotter here. We have seen it in the past. A breaking ball from Kennedy a little high. 2-1. Choo with a .274 average, 12 home runs. And he lifts this one high in the air out to right field. Herrera going back, still back near the wall, leaps, and that one is gone. Wow, it just kept carrying out to right field. Choo sneaks it out for a leadoff home run.
Pretty incredible. Off the bat, you thought maybe it was going to be a deep flyout. We know this is a really good ballpark as far as keeping the ball in the ballpark. Difficult to hit home runs here, but Choo gets a hold of that fastball right down the middle. And that ball, as you mentioned, just kept carrying and carrying and found its way into the Royals bullpen.
There you go. So, wonderful start to this one. And now Elvis Andrus just back off the 60-day disabled list. And he takes ball 1. So 13 home runs for Choo, and the streak now at 32 games. Andrus pops this one up. Heading foul, and you don't want to give up on anything here. You never know. Based on that home run, who knows?
Well, it's certainly good to have Elvis back in the lineup. He is excited about it and not too concerned about what the results were at the minor league level. More importantly for him, he's never had that much time off, and that was kind of new for him and trying to figure it out in the middle of the season, but really starting to catch his groove and happy with the at-bats that he was taking, the quality of them. As Jeff Bannister said, maybe saving all of his hits for the big leagues.
Well, back from the broken elbow, and folks joining us, who knows? I mean, it's been such a long time. You might have forgotten, but Andrus hit by a pitch in his right elbow. And it was such a bummer of a moment because there were 2 out, bottom of the 9th inning, and 2 strikes on him. The game was like a pitch away from being done. Fouls this one away. Stays 1-2. So let's go back. April 11th now against the Angels. And Middleton ran that one in, and you knew it was bad. The reaction was horrible.
The reaction told you everything you needed to know. The sound as well that we heard as far as that ball hitting the elbow of Elvis Andrus, and he's been sorely missed in this lineup.
Slow roller toward third. Routine play from Moustakas. Oh, he just gets it there in time. 1 away.
Well, first at bat here for Elvis, and he gets a breaking ball that's up, but he just kind of rolls over it a little bit. But he made this a lot closer, I think, than you would expect on a 2-hop ground ball. It wasn't hit very hard. You see a little bit of hesitation there from Mike Moustakas, so maybe some struggle on the exchange made that play a little bit closer, but good hustle by Elvis.
So 1 gone. Here is Nomar Mazara. 3 for 14 in that 4-game series. It was back in Arlington. These 2 teams got together a little earlier, and they split the 4 games. Nomar just outside of the top 10 in the league with his 45 RBIs, has 14 home runs. Kennedy with that windup. And a foul ball makes it 1-1. Kennedy 1-6 this year. And a .513 earned run average. With the home run he allowed to Chu, was the 13th that he's given up this season. Royals have surrendered 106 home runs. Two and 1 the count. Play with a slight shift, or a bit of a shift on the infield anyway, with Escobar, Mondesi, and Dozier on the right side, and Moustakas doing all the work over there on the left side, all by his lonesome. Royals with 22 wins, 49 losses. It's been a struggle. It's tight. It's a full count. Now Ian Kennedy, veteran pitcher, year 3 of a 5-year deal here, and it was a big, expensive contract. Dayton Moore believed in Ian Kennedy. Kennedy likes it here. A little chopper by the mound towards second base, but the shortstop Escobar, the man who makes the play, and there are 2 gone.
Well, this will be an interesting night for the Rangers, and Chu kind of changed the narrative right away, but this is updated now, and this is the Rangers versus Ian Kennedy collectively, and you see the numbers and some quality at bats as far as the numbers of them, and Elvis Andrus has seen Kennedy quite a few times, as has Adrian Beltre, but combined, that is through Nomar Mazara, the Rangers starting 9 tonight, hitting .188 over the course of their career against Ian Kennedy, but thanks to Chu, maybe it'll be a little bit of a different look tonight.
Here's Beltre. Adrian, good numbers so far this year, now in 42 games. Off the plate, it's 2-0. Yesterday, Beltre grounded out in a pinch hit appearance. That put an end to a 5-game hitting streak for him, a streak during which he was 11 for 18. That's pretty salty right there. OPS of over 1,400. There's a strike, 2-1. So the veteran still just so good with the bat.
Some off speed, and that one a little high, so 3-1. Our TXU Energy power player to watch. Beltre likes it here at Kauffman Stadium. 48 games now. He's hitting .355 with 10 homers. Takes a strike. It's a full count.
Yeah, we always talk about this, right? Certain ballparks and hitters will tell you, and pitchers will do the same on the road. Places that they're comfortable, and from the hitting standpoint, places where you just see the ball really well. Now, I mentioned it's tough to hit home runs here, but big gaps too. It gives you an opportunity for extra base hits.
Now Kennedy gets his first strikeout of the night, punching out Beltre to win the inning, but the Rangers started it with a leadoff home run from Shin-Soo Choo. They strike first. Bartolo Colon ready to go to work. Good start here this evening. Now Kansas City comes to bat. We mentioned 22 and 49 this year, a real struggle. Whit Merrifield leads it off as a DH. Alex Gordon in left field. Mike Moustakas, their third baseman. Then it's Perez, Dozier, Escobar in the middle. Rosell Herrera in right field. Abraham Almonte and Adalberto Mondesi, the second baseman, rounds it out.
Did you roll your tongue there?
Wow. Almost rolled an ankle. Dreading that one all day.
Nailed it, and then some.
Used to be Raul Mondesi.
Junior.
And I kind of liked it that way. I mean, geez.
I had to do a double take. I thought, was there a change? Is there another Mondesi I was unaware of? I missed the name change.
Same here. Well, Colon Veteran making his 13th start of the year. He's also pitched twice in relief. Well, Moustakas helps him out by popping this one up into short right field. Mazzara puts it away, and it is a 7-pitch inning for Bartolo Colon. When we come back, Jurickson Profar will lead things off for the Rangers.
It's Dallas Stars theme night at Globe Life Park.
The top of the second, and Jeff Bannister said before tonight's game that he has earned the right to be an everyday player. Of course, guys, the only problem is that there are several players in the infield who have, and that includes Rugneto, Dor, Beltre as well. He talked to all these guys before tonight's game about how he's going to rotate them. He is going to try to get them minimum 5 days a week to get them enough reps. That also includes Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, who he will put at backup catcher, guys. He said he's going to try to work them all in, but it's also going to be really hard.
Yes, it is. I mean, it's a great challenge, and because if somebody gets hot, you're going to want to keep them in there, and you got to work the matchups to your best advantage, etc. It's not an easy gig.
No, it certainly isn't. And this is not a traditional platoon either in the way that you think about platoons, in the way that those work, where you say, okay, well, it's a left-right situation. This is not that for Jeff Bannister and these guys. It's just about moving guys around. Now, there may be times to say, okay, I can afford to give this guy a day off because of the matchup.
It's a pretty good swing right here. Deep out to right field. Herrera this time measures it for the out, one away.
But it's not going to be easy. And you bring up a really good point where all of a sudden, whether it's Profar, Odor, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa, whoever it may be, they're swinging a really good bat. They're hitting the ball hard. They're locked in. And then you say, well, this is supposed to be the day that he was going to have off. It becomes a little bit more difficult. And so you got to have to kind of stick to your guns, assuming everybody stays healthy and is productive. And they'll do their best. I'm sure at times not every player is going to be happy because you want to be out there every day. That's just one of those things that comes with the territory.
Joey Gallo goes after strike one.
But the way that you make that go away, kind of to your point, is if you are the guy that is swinging such an incredible bat that they cannot afford to keep you out of the lineup, well, then you can kind of maybe take command of an everyday position a little bit more.
Little glimpse there at one of the shifts that the Royals will employ against Gallo. And this one, not an unusual one tonight. We've seen this a lot. In fact, this would be a rather moderate shift as far as Gallo is concerned. 1-2 the count.
Yep, this is a team in the Royals that shift quite a bit. Third most in Major League Baseball. They have been successful in those shifts. They have taken away 18 more hits than they have allowed when they have been in their shifts. It's an area where they have been good and something they obviously believe in as much as they use them.
Swing and a miss, and Gallo strikes out 2 away here in the second inning.
Well, Robinson Chirinos due next, and he's had quite the eventful week. Something about Rangers catchers. This was Wednesday in Los Angeles. Matt Kemp blew him up with the plate. They get a little shoving match. A game suspension handed out by Major League Baseball. Yesterday, took this one off the ankle and had to leave the game.
Poor Robbie, working so hard, such a good guy, one of the nicest guys you'll ever run into, not just on this team but anywhere in the big leagues, and he grinds it out. Did such a great job last year earning that playing time and taking over the starting role, and then this year as well continuing. I mean, I think all the things the catchers go through with the collisions and concussions and foul tips when you're catching and then foul balls off your ankle. I mean, it's just such an absolute grind, and not to mention things off the field for Robbie as well that he has had to deal with this year. And he just continues to thrive and continues to have such a positive attitude. I think that's the one thing that really sticks out you can take away from Robinson Chirinos. He does not let any circumstances get him down. He is the same person all the time.
Oh,
no.
That one on the hand. The 9th time this year that he's been hit. Ouch.
As we're talking about a poor Robinson Chirinos, it really has become unbelievable to watch as you see that ball get him right on his left hand. And we mentioned this in our open and what the roster situation is right now. Trevino went down, so Isaiah Kiner-Falefa is the backup catcher right now. And remember this, Robinson Chirinos knows that. He's very well aware. He's been in that backup position before and understands the situation and where the roster is right now, and he's going to do everything he possibly can to stay in this game. But this is a long look from Kevin Harmon, and Isaiah was penciled in to start potentially Wednesday. Catch Mendez. See how this finishes out, but he may be getting more innings than expected earlier than expected behind the plate.
Yeah, Leslie was just talking about how Banny's laid everything out. In fact, earlier today on his whiteboard, he had the lineups for the next couple of days sketched out there, and Kiner-Falefa with Yohander Mendez made a lot of sense. Now, he did say too he was thinking he might get Kiner-Falefa in prior to Wednesday's game just to give him a little taste, get him going back there a little bit, but this would be a little earlier than he had anticipated.
Well, I was just thinking too, if you're Isaiah Kiner-Falefa right now, and you know I talk about in the bullpen, like when the phone rings or something happens, your heart just starts to boom, 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 boom. I got to wonder right now if that just happened to Isaiah in that spot a little bit. Is that Ruben Odor's got a catcher's mask on? Did I just see that? Hey, Skip, I'm available too if you need.
That is awesome.
But I got to believe for Isaiah right there, the heart might have skipped a little bit of a beat watching Robbie kind of walk down to first base and clutching that hand.
Well, Chirinos is on, and it gets Guzman to the plate here. Ronald batting eighth, .224 average, 7 home runs. Go with 29 RBIs. Takes a strike. It's 1-1. See how he did that first time around against Kansas City, but now about 52 games already this year for Guzman, who no one really anticipated being here this early, but he has ended up getting a lot of time, and he's done a very nice job both with the bat and in the field, and shoots this one foul out of play.
No, he certainly has. He seems to have gotten comfortable pretty quickly, and I think proving to himself, because he's gotten some really big hits, but proving to himself that he belongs here, that he can hang here. That's always a huge first step for any rookie, that first time you get to the big leagues and you get to go up against the best competition you've ever seen, best competition in the world, and where do I stand? And Guzman has proved that he absolutely is a big leaguer.
1-2. He stays alive. Another catcher taking some shrapnel here. Salvador Perez, who catches all the time, and he's used to it. He's another tough dude. They're all tough. Is he plate umpire Alfonso Marquez kindly pulling out the brush, doing a little housekeeping, and just allowing Salvi to catch his breath here and feel better.
Certainly the right thing to do, and umpires and catchers have that relationship. If the umpire takes that foul tip, the catcher will find a way to get him a little bit of a break as well.
Little in, 2-2.
Now call it even, because the fastball that was down and away for me was a ball, and that one was called a strike. That one looked like it caught a little bit more plate. You'll see it there on our Fox tracks. It looked like it might have been on the inside corner, but pitch number 2 for me was a ball, so call it even.
Kennedy's 2-2 pitch and a swing and a miss, and Guzman strikes out to win the inning. 3rd strikeout so far today for Ian Kennedy. Played 1.5. Rangers lead 1-0.
Want more SUV for your money? Every new
inning. We want to take a look at the Rangers defense this evening, which is delivered to you by the Texas Department of Transportation. Joey Gallo, Delano DeShields, Nomar Mazara in that outfield tonight at Kauffman Stadium. And in the infield for the Rangers, Adrian Beltre, Elvis Andrus, Jurickson Profar, Ronald Guzman at first, and Robinson Chirinos hangs in there, and he is behind the plate. Thankfully.
Yeah, he's all good.
And for now, Isaiah Kiner-Falefa can relax. Big exhale.
Well, another catcher right here, Salvador Perez, leading it off for Kansas City. Perez, Hunter Dozier, and then Alcides Escobar.
You know, we say that about, we kind of jokingly talk about Isaiah Kiner-Falefa catching. Talking to him today, just about that possibility, I was really impressed. He was speaking with confidence as far as the experience that he's had behind the plate at the minor league level. He seemed pretty comfortable. And it's not like it's some kind of novelty. I mean, this is a real deal with him catching, expanding the utility role in a way that we really haven't seen, right? Not too many of the utility guys actually can catch, or would you count on them to be your number 2 catcher? But the Rangers are very interested to see what he can do back there. They've seen it at the minor league level, and I gotta tell you, he was speaking confidently. I was certainly impressed with what he had to say. Looking forward to seeing him behind the plate.
Perez rolls one to third base. The way he moves, a little extra time for Beltre. One away here in the second inning. Let's check in again with Leslie.
Well, you just saw the numbers there, about 60 games the last 2 seasons before this one in the minors. Catching, and guys, he said not only does he trust his hands, but his flexibility. That's one of the main reasons they put him in that position originally. And he said, you know, my body will have to get adjusted to it, but I'm used to it. And he's caught all of the pitchers on staff, 8 games in spring training. And as you mentioned, CJ said he's excited to show everyone what the new utility player is.
I mean, listen, we talk about the value of those guys all the time. You could play some infield positions, maybe even play the outfield once in a while. Well, you never hear about Ben Zobrist catching or any of these other guys, and that would be something unbelievably valuable, and certainly for Isaiah, who has had a nice start to his career. I mean, talk about finding a way to get yourself to stick in the big leagues. And there they are, and what he has done. His career starts as a catcher over the last couple of seasons, just 3 of those at AAA this year. I got to tell you, too, looking at him sitting like that, we got a long way to go. He may have managerial
Man.
in his future, right? Be too hyperbolic, but you know, you listen to him talk, the way he carries himself. I know he says the right things, but I mean, but I tell you what he probably is doing, like you mentioned, thinking about now the reality of him getting ready to catch in a big league game, paying maybe a little bit closer attention to what Robinson Chirinos is doing and following along a little bit closer on pitch selection.
Well, he has been catching bullpens while he's been up here, not every day, because as he began to take on more of an everyday role on the team, you know, he had to commit to getting ready that day, whether it be at second base, third, whatever. But was still catching the occasional bullpen to stay sharp that way. And I thought, you know, not to just go on and on about Kenner, because we're going to have a chance on Wednesday, and who knows, maybe prior then to talk about him catching. But I thought one of the other interesting things about him was his conversation about not calling the game, but making more suggestions to the pitchers. And he reads the bat a little bit and reads the hitter a little bit during an at-bat. And you kind of second-level process of catching, I thought. You know, when you talk to catchers over the years, you'll learn about how they go about their craft. You know, some guys are really talented at reading the swings of hitters and the reactions to certain pitches and getting that real good feel for what will work next. Inside an at-bat, inside a game, not just off the scouting reports. And I mean, he's already going in depth about that just in advance of his first start. He gets it.
He does, and you love that kind of preparation. He understands that it's something that, again, is not like a one-off, or they want to get a really good look and see exactly what he can do back there and get a better idea of what his role will be on this roster going forward. But the things that he was saying and digging in, and I think what was really impressive too, all that preparation you were talking about, but then at the end of the day realizing his job back there is just to give the pitcher a suggestion. He's got a game plan, he understands, he's following along, he's doing his homework. But catch a guy like Bartolo Colon, you catch a guy like Cole Hamels, guys that have been around the block a few times, he knows he's just there throwing down some suggestions and lets them take the lead.
Comebacker, and Dozier bangs that one right off of Colon for a base hit. Bartolo, usually so good at fielding his position, remarkably quick, but that one got a piece of his foot.
Yeah, a little frustration there from Bartolo Colon. That one actually went off the glove. You see it heal the glove, which would frustrate him even a little bit more, because he probably believes he should have caught it. I don't know if he should have caught it, but you see it there. No chance for Elvis Andrus after Bartolo slowed that thing down considerably.
So Dozier is on, and here is Alcides Escobar. Escobar batting 6th in the order today. When we talk about a guy like Salvador Perez who plays every day, Escobar certainly in that same category. But he's been in a real struggle. Yesterday 0 for 4, but he has just 2 hits in his last 44 at bats. He's knocked his average all the way down to 206. Puts this one high in the air into short right field. Mazara coming in, and he'll handle it 2 away. Of course, not just Alcides Escobar. This Royals team all around has really struggled. Look at this, 2-13 in the month of June. They have scored just 30 runs in 15 games, and all the other numbers equally stunning, I guess you could say. It has been a really bad go.
It has been, and they're in a change right now. They got their World Series. They went through their first rebuild. It worked out really well for them when it was all said and done. They get that championship back in 2015, and now they've gone backwards. Last year they had a good group of those guys still together, ones that were going to be free agents last offseason. They didn't trade anybody. They tried to make that last run. Didn't really happen, and so now it's kind of time to reset here for the Kansas City Royals, and that means going through some tough stretches once in a while like they are right now.
Herrera, broken bat bloop out to center, but DeShields uses his speed to get there, and the inning is done. So we play 2 complete, and the Rangers lead 1-0.
J.D. Power ranked us
everybody at the ball game, but Jose Trevino more than any, with his 7-day-old son looking on from a suite up above, and Trevino on his first ever Father's Day as a father with the game winner yesterday. What a day it was.
That was fantastic, and the raw emotion afterwards. I told you that entire story. I think sometimes we just assume players go along and are doing their thing, but what a big day for Jose. I was disappointed to see him get sent back down, but based on where the Rangers are right now in the roster shuffle, we will certainly see Jose Trevino again.
Now Ian Kennedy going to work here in the 3rd inning. 36 pitches in the first 2 frames. Only 22 of those were for strikes, though, and he gets to Shields to chase that one. It's 1-2. Delano batting 9th tonight for the Rangers. Speed at the bottom of the order, 223 average. So with Andrus back, Delano, who had been batting 2nd, pushed back down to the bottom again. A little tapper, and it goes foul. Well, the funny thing about Trevino, too, though, is that when he was called up, the idea was it was going to be one game. I mean, he was going to be there to just be there for support as a backup emergency situation on Friday, which presented itself. He had to play. And then, of course, got the start on Saturday, and then yesterday came in late again and provided some heroics. 2-2 the count to Shields.
I mean, it really is amazing, and you never know where this game is going to take you when you get called up, and it's not an uncommon story. You're going to be here for a day, you're going to make one start, and things go a little bit differently over the course of the history of this game. But then to also have a moment that will last a lifetime, a story to tell, not just a personal one that was special to him, but to everybody that was in the ballpark and got to watch it. I mean, those kind of memories and those kind of moments are certainly not easy to come by at the big league level. Have your son there, walk it off in the big leagues on Father's Day. Can't write it any better.
Here's Chu. He had the home run in the 1st inning. His 2nd leadoff home run this year. Takes high for a ball. Chu has now reached in 32 consecutive games. Two and 0. A lot of the streak has been walks, but it's the best in his career, the longest active this year in baseball. He's hitting nearly .330 with 8 home runs during this streak. Fouls it away. It's 2-1. Our Southwest player breakdown.
Now let's get to Chu and back to that home run that we saw, that fastball that split the middle. I mentioned that the 4-seam fastball had been an issue for Ian Kennedy, and the 8 home runs that he allowed on that pitch will make it 9 now. And you mentioned the home runs over the course of what's happening here with Chu. I mean, he picks his spots, right? That, I mentioned this so much with him and talk about it with Chu and the game plan, which makes it very difficult for opposing pitchers. You see that there, 13th leadoff home run as a Ranger. It's number 2 all time in Texas history, and Kinsler 29 of those. So some work to do still left for Chu, but you just don't know that time that he's going to jump out on your first pitch. Is he going to work in at bat? When's he going to try to get big with his swing? When's he going to try to do rat right there? Or he's going the other way? It's really difficult. He came into this game hitting .519 on first pitches. It's 3rd best in Major League Baseball. The league average is .342, which makes you wonder, why aren't more guys trying to put the ball in play on the first pitch, especially in an age now here where the batting averages are just down all the way across the league.
Another tough foul tip off Salvi Perez. Yeah, it was the same spot. That's the spot he was attending to earlier tonight.
He keeps reaching in underneath that shin guard, which is unusual. You don't see that very often. So I wonder if the ball got him on the shin guard, but it still hurt. Yeah, maybe something going on with that knee and just kind of re-aggravating it a little bit for Perez. It's a weird one too. High breaking ball actually above the zone. That fouled off the catcher's right leg.
Full count now on Chu.
Amazing. It's amazing, and this is why he's having the streak that he's having and is locked in as he has been. That's a breaking ball that just barely missed being a strike with 2 strikes. Chu knew it was a ball and he watched it.
And this is where he could really show you his ability too. When he starts fouling off these close pitches when he has the 2 strikes. We saw him the other day, like an 11-pitch walk to start the game. The first at bat of the game. It could just be exhausting for a starting pitcher. Kennedy's 3-2, and there's ball 4.
Oh. That's the second time tonight that we have seen Ian Kennedy look at a fastball on the inside corner to a lefty that wasn't called a strike. Now they're trying to go away, so that doesn't help your cause. We showed it earlier with Ronald Guzman. You see that one there with Chu. That is probably a strike because he missed a spot as badly as he did, and because it's Chu, who does have the respect of umpires, it goes down as ball 4 on that bat.
So a 1-out base runner now for Elvis Andrus. Elvis grounded out in his first at bat back off the disabled list. This is his first game since April 11th.
Well, it's time now for our Lowe's whole team together. And I thought this was pretty interesting checking this out during my research. There's such an issue with swings and misses, but check out the Rangers percentage of swings that are put in play. Elvis Andrus leading the Rangers at 51%. There's kind of Falefa and Adrian Beltre in the top 3. Now league average is 37%. So all those guys well above league average. Putting the ball in play, putting some pressure on the defense, certainly important. And I just think that that's one of those numbers that is worth keeping an eye on, especially now. With all the strikeouts, all the low batting averages, who can put the ball in play a little bit actually matters. And Elvis has been the best with the Rangers. Of course, this is only game number 15, but that's who he's been over the course of his career.
Runner goes, and a swing and a foul tip. So Chu running, and that's just a little bit surprising. Chu has stolen 2 bases this year, but Ian Kennedy, not an easy guy to steal bases against. He's only allowed 11 stolen bases since he joined the Royals, and that's a span of almost 425 innings.
And of course, you got Salvador Perez back there, who has been excellent over the course of his career and has been really good this year. He has thrown out 10 of 17 potential base stealers this year. Just 7 have been successful. So I think that was probably a hit and run, though, I'm guessing, based on the swing that Elvis took, and it's a 1-1 count at the time. Certainly know Banny will do that once in a while. And again, we just showed you percentages of swings that are put in play. Banny knows that he can count on Elvis more often than not to get you contact, and he knows how to handle the bat well. Idea of maybe putting Chu in motion with the idea of trying to get him to third on a base hit, part of the strategy.
2-2, and that is going to run the count full. Well, I think one of the things about making contact that is so often overlooked is, you look at like yesterday's win for the Rangers. A strikeout just doesn't move the needle. That little bloop yesterday by Trevino won the game. Just sometimes putting the ball in play is enough, as Andrus draws the walk, back-to-back walks here in the 3rd inning. All right, let's check in with Leslie McCaslin.
Well, guys, I talked to Nomar Mazara, who's up next, about that play before tonight's game, and he just said, yeah, I mean, when runners are in scoring position, you just have to try to make contact. That's something that some of the older players have talked to a lot of the younger players throughout this entire season. He said, not trying to do too much, just looking for your pitch, making contact. I mean, strikeouts are going to happen, he said, but we need to do a better job as a team. And guys, he leads the team right now with 45 RBI. Clearly, when it's counted, he's come up big.
That's a good point, and he obviously showed us that last year with the better than 100 RBIs for Nomar Mazara. These are different at bats when you have runners in scoring position. Any good hitter will tell you that. As you see, And Nomar choking down, just trying to put the ball in play with that swing.
Yeah, right.
I think he tried to hit that one over the fountains, but there's nothing wrong with that swing, because if you see one that you like, that you're comfortable going after, then sure, get big on it early in the count. Nomar, a guy who hits a lot of line drives, no problem taking that kind of swing. But it's also things like maybe looking for that get me over breaking ball with the runner in scoring position. You may take that pitch with no strikes, but the idea of maybe just trying to get a base hit early, you might go after that pitch.
No balls, 2 strikes on Mazara. Nomar has struck out 63 times this year. And you say to yourself, well, the downside of not striking out and just quote unquote putting the ball in play is you can hit into double plays, right? That's the one thing that people are concerned about. And Nomar has hit into 10 double plays this year, which is a fairly high number. But I would still take it. It's just his contact rate in general, his ability to get runs home. 0-2. That one a little bit low.
And of course, his ability to use the field, right? He does such a great job in handling the bat. Now look at this. This is kind of surprising to me. Look at that hole there where the shortstop would be. Now, Nomar is certainly very capable of hitting a ground ball to that side, trying to get it by Mike Moustakas. A lot of opportunity to do that, unless Ian Kennedy continues to pound him in. Right, we've seen fastballs in, we saw the breaking ball down and in, but if he gives him something out over the plate, Nomar could hit it right there.
And he does, right through that vacant spot on the left side. It gets Chu to the plate, and it's a 2-0 game. Good idea, CJ.
You know, I just figure why not take a shot at it. And you're gonna be wrong most of the time, but every once in a while you get one right. But the reality is, when you have these kind of shifts, what you care about is what you're going to do pitching wise. Now, they tried to go back in, and so the strategy was right. The execution was not. This ball missed over the plate. That gave Nomar an opportunity to do that. And there is a good example of what Leslie was just talking about, is taking the team at bat in that spot. You see a pitch over the plate. Now, we saw him take a huge swing at a first pitch fastball that was in a similar location. But in that spot with 2 strikes, cut it down a little bit, hit that ground ball, and see if you can drive a run in. That's exactly what Nomar did.
Kennedy now 25 pitches in this inning. His first offering, Beltre sends it high in the air, deep left field, and gone. A 3-run shot by Adrian Beltre. His 3rd of the year, and it opens up a big lead for the Rangers in this 3rd inning.
What a nice string of at-bats here for the Texas Rangers, going back to the Chu walk. That was a great at-bat where he went deep in the count. Then it was Elvis Andrus, a good walk. The nice at-bat by Nomar. And then here comes Adrian Beltre. We're just having this conversation about how you approach an at-bat with runners in scoring position. And Adrian gets a first pitch hanging break ball. I think if you throw him that pitch with nobody on base, he probably takes it for a strike. But the idea of driving in a run, putting a charge into that ball with a runner at third base, Adrian got big and he hammered that ball.
420 feet, and now a line shot to first, hauled in by Dozier. 2 away, so Profar's about a quick one.
And I think the other part of that too, and pitchers will fall into this trap. Ian Kennedy missed a spot, a little frustrated with the at bat that Nomar Mazara had. He's thinking, you know what, I get ahead of Adrian Beltre. Let me just flip a little breaking ball here for a strike to try to get ahead 0-1. But Adrian's been around the block a few times and he was ready for it.
4-run 3rd inning. Rangers lead 5-0. Here's Joey Gallo. And he takes a strike. Gallo 5th in the league with 18 home runs. Pops it foul out of play. 0-2. Struck out in the 2nd inning. Gallo 107 strikeouts, most in baseball. And you know that that's a part of the bargain with Joey Gallo. Here's the 0-2. And he couldn't stop himself. A strikeout here ends the 3rd inning. But the Rangers score 4 runs. Adrian Beltre muscling up just a little bit. Deep shot to left field. A 3-run blast. Opens up a big lead for the Rangers. Thanks, John. Adrian Beltre with a home run just a moment ago. Stretch out this Rangers lead to 5-0 as we go to the bottom of the third here. By the way, Beltre, now that's 147 home runs in a Rangers uniform for him, which is one more than Dean Palmer hit as a Ranger, most among third basemen in franchise history. You knew that was coming sooner or later.
Dean Palmer, one of the greats. I was fortunate enough to play with him in Detroit, one of my favorite all-time teammates. You talk about hard-nosed, playing the game kind of the way that you feel like it should be played. Dean Palmer was one of those guys. He would do absolutely anything. A guy that was really tough to get off the field, play through just about any injury he possibly could. True gamer. Bit of a throwback for sure. So I was looking for it. I didn't see it. Did John Radigan bury the lead a little bit as far as how far that Soto home run went?
Well, I don't think he got into the to the length of it.
Did you see the length?
433.
What?
Yeah. That's a well hit ball into right field by Almonte, and the second hit of the night for a Kansas City Royal.
That is some horse pucky right there.
Horse hockey? What?
Are you kidding me? 433.
Yeah.
Come on.
That's what they said when you know, just after it was hit. Everybody was yelling, screaming. We happened to be down at the clubhouse when it happened, and we're everybody quite impressed. And then they put the distance up, 433 feet, which was really disappointing.
That was a bomb.
Because it was like 533 feet.
Yeah, I was going to say at least 475.
Well, with a man on, nobody out. Alberto Mondesi is the hitter here, formerly Raul, and Mondesi, a young prospect in this Royals organization. He's 22 years old. Started last year as the second baseman. Hits this ball hard out to right field. Mazzara can't get to that one. It's over his head and up against the fence. Almonte into third. Mike Jersley waging to the plate. Here comes a relay throw. Oh, not in time. Close play, but Almonte gets in there, and Kansas City gets their first run of the night.
That's a good play all the way around. It was a really good hit, but the Rangers did a nice job of making this close. Really good execution on the relay. Well, this ball was smoked. Take a look first here from Mondesi. Does a nice job on this pitch in. He got all of it. Hit that line drive right over Nomar's head, but he gets the ball in quickly. But watch the quick exchange here from Profar, and look at the strong throw. I didn't think there was going to be a chance at getting Almonte, and it wasn't a perfect throw, but that's asking a lot. It was a good throw right there in the vicinity, and he did a nice job too, not bouncing that throw. A lot of guys will do that, make it a little bit easier on them, but the only chance they were going to have is if they got it there in the air, and that's a nice job, even though no out was recorded.
Mondesi's first hit of the season, and this ball hit down the left field line by Merrifield, but foul.
I think those little things are worth keeping an eye on with the Rangers based on the state of the organization, where they are. Off to a slow start this season. Some younger guys getting more playing time, and Jurgen Profar is one of those guys that we've kept an eye on, has gotten more playing time than originally thought, and now has gotten himself to the point where they're going to try to work him in the lineup as much as they can. So those little fundamentals, making sure he's doing all those things right. Sure, we're seeing the good at bats and everything else, but these are things certainly that the Rangers want to see as well, and I would say that I'm pretty pleased with that relay.
One strike pitch to Merrifield, and he'll pull it foul again. 0-2. Merrifield 0 for 1. The DH today. And yesterday, he fouled a ball off his left knee and had to leave the game in the second inning. They weren't real sure how quickly he would respond, but right back in there again tonight. And there you see the little padding, protective padding there for that knee. This one popped up into right center field again. Mazzara in and makes the play. One away. Well, Bartolo Colon Kubota power stats tonight. This is start number 166 for him since turning 40 years old. So that breaks the tie that he was in with Tommy John for 5th in Major League history for starts after the age of 40.
You want to feel bad about yourself. I think about the things that I've done since I've turned 40, and nothing like that. I haven't made 166 starts in the big leagues against big league hitters, and Bartolo Colon continues to impress at his age. It's a lot on the body. I mean, that's the one thing we tend to ignore. We're in awe of the fact that he's got excellent command, that he's still got great movement on the two-seam fastball, the emotions or lack of that he has during the game, and going after good big league hitters. But the toll that this game will take on your body, the ability to recover and go back out there, Bartolo Colon, especially in this day and age, right? Things are a little bit different than when Tommy John was pitching, and not to take anything away from guys from earlier generations. But these guys work harder than ever. They beat up their bodies a ton to prepare for the season.
Swing and a miss by Gordon, the count 0-2. Well, I don't want to be dismissive either, but I mean, of all the positions, starting pitcher, maybe the least amount of wear and tear.
Yeah, relief pitcher maybe, depending on how often you're used and up and down. I mean, you think about if he throws 90 pitches in an outing, you're throwing between warm-ups, in between innings, and before the game. You're throwing the ball 150 times.
Slow roller shortstop. Andrews will pick it up, but have no play. So Mondesi gets to third. Gordon with an infield hit, and Kansas City has him on the corners. Well, that gives us a moment here. We can take a word from our friends at Southwest Kia.
At Southwest Kia, we've made car buying easy. $250 down delivers, monthly payments $250 a month or less. SouthwestKia.com.
Gordon at first, Mondesi at third. One away. Here is Mike Moustakas. Alone off the plate. Now Bartolo came in with that 3-4 record. And you mentioned it earlier. He's had trouble with the home run. 19 of them allowed this year. Most. But it doesn't walk guys. Not going to strike out a ton either. It's all the little things to allow himself to compete. Now, I say that. The month of June just has not been good to Bartolo. 3 starts this month. Prior to this one, he has gone a total of 11 1/3 innings and given up 23 hits and 16 earned runs. So the previous 3 starts have been a little rugged. He's looked good so far tonight, but he really does need a ground ball or whatever here and limit the damage to 1 run in this 3rd inning.
And location was the issue in a lot of those starts. We know Bartolo does not have the overpowering fastball, and when that location is off, he becomes susceptible to the long ball and getting hit around and having some shorter outings. That's what we have seen in this month. But as you mentioned, so far tonight,
this one just past first but foul.
I thought this was interesting with him. So he's a contact pitcher at this point in his career. He's got a very respectable ground ball rate, 45%. That's right at league average. But he's only gotten 2 double plays turned on the ground this year. Now, this is an ideal spot to be able to try to get that ground ball. Mike Moustakas is a guy who has hit into 8 double plays so far this season. Now, he doesn't necessarily hit the ball on the ground a ton either. Puts the ball in the air 44% of the time and on the ground just 33% of the time. But this is one of those spots where if Bartolo can hit location with a 2-seamer sinker, he could get that double play. Tried to right there.
3-1. Mondesi's at third, Gordon at first for Kansas City. They have scored a run in the inning. Moustakas 9th in the league with 46 RBIs, and the count now is full. And we're talking about how Merrifield had to lead the game early yesterday after fouling a ball off his knee. Moustakas had to lead the game early yesterday as well. He was ejected while on the bench. John Tumpain, the plate umpire, threw him out of the game. And so he had a short day yesterday as well. Runner goes from first, and this one fouled away. We'll do it again. Understandable that frustrations would be a little high around here. Kansas City has lost 26 of their last 36 games at home. That's pretty bad.
It is bad, and this is a Royals team that gets pretty good support at home. They are certainly beloved, not just here locally, but their fan base spreads pretty wide.
High fly ball off the bat of Moustakas. Be deep enough to get a run home. Mazzara makes the catch. Mondesi tags. He will score. A sac fly from Moustakas makes it 5-2. Brings up Salvador Perez. Perez snapped an 0 for 14 yesterday. Had a couple of hits in the game yesterday. Takes this one outside for a ball. He grounded out in the second inning tonight. Kansas City just got done with the Houston Astros, and that last game yesterday, part of a 3-game series. They were swept by the Astros. They were also swept prior to that by Cincinnati on this homestand.
That one probably had to hurt a little bit. It's one thing with the Astros and how good baseball they have been playing lately. They have been on quite the tear, winning 11 straight. But the Cincinnati Reds, a team with just 26 wins on the season, getting swept by them, it's a little discouraging.
Swing and a miss. Makes it 2-1. They've lost 7 of their last 8 here at home. It's a team not that far removed from winning a World Championship, and of course going to back-to-back World Series. Ned Yost, winningest manager in this franchise's history. Little bouncer by the mound. Andrus is there. Quick flip to second base, and that will end the inning. But a couple of runs for Kansas City. We've played 3 so far. Rangers lead it 5-2. local Buick dealer today. A 3-run lead for the Rangers as we go to the 4th inning. So far, so good. The iconic fountains here at Kauffman Stadium. This really is still such a beautiful ballpark. It's aged well. They've done a lot of updates over the years, and it's still a great place to see a game.
I agree. I think the maintenance has been key, right? A lot of times you think about an older ballpark and keeping it up. They've always been excellent in that regard here over the years, and then those little adjustments they have made here and there have really worked out. I'm with you. This is still a really, really nice ballpark. Finally changed out the big screen in center field. That one needed some updating.
And the renovations were some $250 million in 2009. Now, you would have never played here in the turf days, right?
No, not that old.
Pretty old.
Yeah. I did play here when the bullpen was facing in a different direction. It's now, I guess you say, parallel to the track. It was perpendicular to the left. It just went in a straight line straight back underneath their Hall of Fame or up to their Hall of Fame.
Do you like it this way, or would you have preferred it the other way?
Way better. Same with Texas.
This one out to right field, hanging up a little bit, but
same thing in Arlington. There was no air circulation down there when it was going that way. Now it's nice and open. Get a little flow, stay cool. Much, much better.
I thought you pitcher types, though, you wanted to be in the same orientation as you would be when you come in and pitch on the mound.
Yep, that's a fair point. But in those situations, better to keep your cool than to be in the pizza oven.
Now, listen, nothing quite says cool like C.J. Nitkowski. Here's Ronald Guzman. He takes high for a ball. Guzman struck out in the second. That's a foul ball, 1-1. We were talking last inning about it wasn't that long ago. This team was, the talk of the town. You go back to 2014, 89 wins. They won the American League Championship, went to the World Series. Next year, won the World Series, beating the Mets. 1-2, and then 2016, you could see it happening. Last year, real decision on the horizon. You keep going for it, or do you start rebuilding? Well, they're now rebuilding. 2-2 here on Guzman.
With a couple of high-priced pieces still involved on this roster, Alex Gordon, one of those who, when they signed him to that 4-year extension, or when he's a free agent, 4-year deal. A couple of really bad years to start off, and then last year he seemed to, or excuse me, this year he started to bounce back and kind of get it together. Finally starting to get some payback on that big deal. So that's certainly a guy that if he can continue to swing the bat well, maybe they can try to save some of that money next year, move on from him. Maybe, I don't know what direction they're going to go in. Mike Moustakas will be a free agent, although his salary is really not weighing them down this year. Ian Kennedy, Danny Duffy, all guys that are locked into long-term deals. I don't think Salvador Perez will be going anywhere.
Guzman lifts this one out to left field, and Gordon is there. How about this? Big news today. I mean, this was moments before we were going on the air today. Royals with a big trade. Kelvin Herrera is gone. He's now a Washington National. They got 3 minor leaguers for him. And, I think these things are always impossible to tell right now what that means for Kansas City, except in the immediate term, it means they don't have their great closer.
And then finally, the turnover of the 3 great relievers that they had was so fun to watch what the Royals were doing during those 14 and 15 runs, where their starting pitching was okay, but Ned Yost, like clockwork, turned the ball over to Kelvin Herrera in the 7th, Wade Davis in the 8th, and then Greg Holland in the 9th. Now they're all gone.
Fly ball to right by DeShields, completes a 1-2-3 for Ian Kennedy. We go to the bottom of the 4th inning. Rangers lead 5-2. Padres and Rangers is the game. And how about this giveaway? First 15,000 fans get a Rangers tumbler courtesy of Academy Sports and Outdoors. Get your tickets at texasrangers.com or by calling 972-RANGERS. Be a steel drum band there and everything.
Yeah, perfect.
To tumbler mod. There's Hunter Dozier. An infield hit in the second inning. Dozier at first base tonight. And Bartolo out in this fourth inning. Let's see. 47 pitches in the first 3 innings. He's allowed the 2 runs so far.
He's kept the ball in the strike zone 63%, actually, for both of these starters up to this point. 63% strikes, but Bartolo a little bit different than Kennedy with the swings and misses. Just 2 of those so far this evening compared to Kennedy's 8.
1-2 the count on Dozier. Now Dozier, young guy, first round pick in 2013, 8th overall selection of that draft. A lot of injuries last year slowed him down a touch. And he takes strike 3 called. First strikeout of the night for Bartolo Colon.
That was perfectly located, maybe a little bit off the plate when you think about some of those fastballs we were talking about earlier from Kennedy against lefties that didn't get called. But this is just kind of the way that it goes, as you see that thing right on the corner. The slider there from Bartolo Colon. Mentioned not a lot of swings and misses for him tonight, but paint like that, you'll get some called third strikes. The first strikeout of the night for Bartolo.
Now it's Alcides Escobar. That one off the plate. Escobar with a short fly ball to right field, and we mentioned it when he was up in the second inning. He has really fallen on some hard times at the plate, like so many of these Kansas City Royals. But a reliable middle infielder. He goes out there every day and turns in a good job defensively. Hits this ball hard over shortstop, and that's into left field. A base hit for Escobar. Well, he gets by Gallo and goes all the way to the wall. Escobar now on his horse. He'll head to third. He's moving a little bit. Dursley will stop him there. And just a mental error in left field by Joey Gallo.
And he had a little bit of an issue picking this ball up as well, and I think that's why you saw Escobar take off. Now, first of all, good base hit. He hit it hard, and almost like the ball stayed down a little bit more than Joey Gallo was expecting. I think he might have been anticipating a higher hop, but you see him catching that thing or trying to catch it on 2 bounces, and then when Escobar saw it get by him and then saw a little bit of a bobble as Joey was picking the ball up, he thought maybe there'd be a chance for scoring on that play, but certainly a smart move not to try.
Single and a 2-base error puts Escobar at third. Rosell Herrera now, and he takes one a little bit in. That's the guy who flied out in the second inning. A recent addition to this Royals roster. Formerly in the Reds organization. In fact, made his big league debut earlier in the year with Cincinnati. He was recalled from AAA Omaha yesterday and ended up making his Royals debut after the ejection of Moustakas. One is off the plate. It is 3-0. He went 0 for 2 yesterday. He's 0 for 1 so far today. He was hitting the ball pretty well at AAA Omaha. Royals picked him up at the beginning of the month when he was designated for assignment by Cincinnati. Spent 3.5 weeks with a big club in Cincinnati. Made his big league debut back in April. 6'3", a little bit less than 200 pounds. A slender, fast runner. Just 25 years old, out of the Dominican Republic.
What a nice change for the guys that play in Omaha. Now there's 2 stadiums there. You go back to the old Rosenblatt Stadium. Of course, that is the stadium where the College World Series was played. But what that meant for the AAA club was that when the College World Series started, it was about a 3-week road trip that you had to go on, which is an absolute nightmare. Now there's a beautiful stadium there. What is it? TD Ameritrade, I think it's
Sounds
called.
right, yeah.
And the Creighton plays there and the World Series plays there, but that's not where the Storm Chasers play. They have their own new ballpark as well. So no more 3-week road trip.
Boy, Herrera put a little charge into this one, and Mazzara couldn't quite get to it. Escobar scores easily. Herrera galloping to third base, and he is in there with a triple. It's a 5-3 ball game.
A couple of well-struck balls here against Bartolo Colon, and more often than not with him, it's missed location on the fastball. This one was left up a 2-seamer, as you see. Nomar giving it everything he has, but this ball just out of his reach. It looked like it tipped off the end of his glove, and you see the speedy Herrera getting to third easily, well ahead of the throw.
So there you go, the first triple of his career, first extra base hit of his career. And for Herrera, that's the first RBI. 3 runs so far, 6 Kansas City hits. And now Almonte, who had a base hit last inning, pops this one up. Deep shortstop, if you will. Elvis Andrus out there, and he'll take it. 2 away. Well, coming up, Carter Blood Care and the Texas Rangers are teaming up to save lives. You can give on Monday, July 2nd, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. at Globe Life Park. And with that, you'll get a tour of the ballpark, T-shirts, 2 Rangers tickets. Go ahead, sign up today, carterbloodcare.org. Two away now for Mondesi, who had the double in the 3rd inning.
Check this out. I thought this was really interesting. Bartolo Colon now, father-son duos that he has faced. The Fielders, the Youngs, the Bellingers, and the Mondeses in there as well. And of course, ideally you have success against both father and son.
Fly ball out to center field. The Shields on the run, and he'll get back there and haul it in. The inning is over. Great speed in center field, and DeShields able to track it down and hold Kansas City to just 1 run.
Well, this is a fantastic play by Delino. He could not slow down on this ball, couldn't break stride, and just enough room for him to get to it, and Bartolo Colon as enthusiastic as he gets. to Shields made an excellent play to end that last inning, and not a lot of opportunity, as I mentioned, going to break to slow down. The catch probability just 15%, but not for Delino to Shields. A great wheels. Great read on that ball as well.
Chu shoots one out to left field, hanging up there a little bit, and that one is off the fence. Chu will have a leadoff double in the 5th inning. And so now he has homered, doubled, and walked against Ian Kennedy. Oh hum, just another day at the office for Chu.
Well, I mentioned the .519 batting average on first pitches for Chu and why he can be so difficult. Look at that pitch. Look at the location. That was borderline being a strike on the corner, and he still went after it on the first pitch, and he drove that ball to left field. And Chu is just locked in right now, doing everything right, and 3 at-bats, and he's been on base, as you mentioned, 3 times.
So in scoring position for Andrus. Elvis 0 for 1 with a walk and a run scored. Kennedy's thrown a lot of pitches. That's number 80 on the night for him.
Good to see the Rangers get a run on the board after jumping out to a 5-0 lead through the top of the 3rd. The Royals starting to get back in this thing a little bit and reversing some of that momentum in the Rangers' favor. Certainly would be welcomed right now by Jeff Bannister and Bartolo Colon.
Whoa. Tight on Andrus. 2-0.
Well, not fun for Elvis after getting activated off the disabled list for tonight's game. Of course, he got hit in the right elbow, and this one not too far away from the left arm. Just doesn't want to miss any more time. Some good audio there. Was that Elvis?
I don't know. I couldn't tell who that was. It was great, though. Somebody right there in that area. Oh, high. Oh, pardon me. Strike called. 2-1.
You know, Elvis Andrus knows the strike zone as good as anybody. I think we are starting to see the outside corner starting to open up a little bit behind home plate, especially to right-handed hitters.
Kennedy checked second base, fires that one in there, and it is 2-2. Kennedy has won just 1 of his last 27 starts here at Kauffman Stadium. 1. It was an interleague win too. It was against Arizona, the last start of 2017.
He's had some bad luck. I mean, his last 2 starts, 13 innings combined, just 1 run allowed in those 13 innings, and didn't pick up a win in either one of those ball games. The run support's been low, 3.2 for Kennedy this season.
Andrus waiting, the 2-2. Full count. Now, all that said, Ian Kennedy in his last 5 starts against the Rangers, that goes back to 2015. He's been pretty good. 220 earned run average over those 5 starts with a whip. So walks and hits per innings pitched of just 1.04. 3-2 pitch. He'll have to throw another one. So Andrus making him work a little bit here.
Good dad joke there would have been. You mentioned his whip. I would have asked you about his nay-nay.
That would have been a strong effort.
Yeah, but maybe like 3 years ago, at least. I wanted to, but I held back, sort of.
Not really. Not even like at all. Here's the 3-2, and that's ball 4, which will only increase Kennedy's whip. Changing the subject, Wednesday, June 27th, Rangers and Padres, and it's a Texas Chili Company dollar hot dog night. Get your tickets at TexasRangers.com or by calling 972-RANGERS. Chu at second. Andrus at first now for Nomar Mazara. Now that's where if I was producing, I would have done a different promo there. I would have done the Rougned Odor and the horse promo, so you could have done the nay.
Tie it all together.
There. Yeah, would have really done the trick for me. Mazara takes a strike. Nomar with a hit, and RBI scored a run. 1 for 2 tonight.
We talked about this earlier, the RBI situations, runners in scoring position, and the approach that Nomar is taking. Really, we saw it last year, but just continuing to try to be really good in those areas. And something, a big swing early, but then a shortened up swing later in the count. And he's got another opportunity here with Chu at second base.
Well, the Rangers so far tonight, 2 for 2 with runners in scoring position. So that's gone well here tonight. Chance for Mazzara. Do a little more damage. Yesterday, Nomar was 2 for 4, drove in 3 runs. Foul tips that one. It's 1-2. So yesterday, those 3 RBIs he had, they came in 3 different plate appearances. Let's see. Today, an RBI and a plate appearance. So, like, what is that? Look back here. So he's driven in a run in 4 of his last 6 plate appearances. That's kind of cool. Still just 23 years old. High in the air. This one's not going to get it done. Infield fly rule in effect. One away.
Let's get to our Ford game summary and take a look at the home run that Adrian Beltre hit in his last at-bat, jumping all over the first pitch from Ian Kennedy. And for Adrian, that 3-run shot put the Rangers up by a score of 5-0. And I really think you can link the 2 at-bats together. First, the one from Nomar Mazzara prior to that. 2-strike, little soft ground ball that drove in a run. Probably frustrated Ian Kennedy, and he'd come back with a little breaking ball to Adrian Beltre, and he crushed that thing to left field, and a big home run, and that's where the Rangers stand right now with their 5 runs.
Fouled away. Or strike 1 on Adrian. Well, Beltre now in a tie with Winfield and Miguel Cabrera, 34th on the all-time home run list, 465 of them. Chipper Jones awaits him next on that list. Runners leading, and that pitch off the plate. Beltre now with 1,664 RBIs in his career, 27th on that list, and just a couple more to catch Sammy Sosa. So he just keeps climbing all of these all-time greats lists. Having a real good year at the plate this year. Battled some injuries. It's limited his playing time, so the counting numbers maybe not as high as one would expect, but you can see in a 329 clip. Two and two.
So the prior pitch that we saw Adrian swing over, that was the changeup from Ian Kennedy. That has been the best of his secondary offerings this season. It's also the pitch in which he has generated the most swings and misses, a 31% whiff rate on that pitch this year, and a 113 batting average again. So even though he's got the power breaking ball and he uses it a little bit more, that changeup has been really good for him this season.
Swing and a miss. He gets Beltre for the 2nd out of the 5th inning. Means it'll be up to Jerks and Profar.
It's a big at bat here for Jerks, and you don't want to waste that leadoff double by Chu. It was a really good at bat, driving that ball to left field, and Ian Kennedy now has gotten himself to the point where Chu is not advanced. He's got himself 2 outs. I mentioned kind of that shift in momentum a little bit with the Royals scoring 3 unanswered runs. Great to see Jerks and Profar find a way to get this run in.
Working on a 5-game hitting streak. And how about that? In the month of June, Only Gaddis, Escobar, and Bregman with more RBIs in the American League than Profar. And a lot of his RBIs, we've talked about this with some frequency, have been like big. Here's a ground ball, right side, Mondesi with a nice sliding stop. Throws out Profar. The inning is done. The Rangers can't do anything with that leadoff double, and they leave two. We're halfway there tonight. 5-3 Rangers.
Low fares, no hidden fees. That's transparency. And by GMC. Visit your local GMC dealer. Well, Elvis Andrus, his first game back since April 11th. He's been involved today, a couple of walks. He's scored a run. It's good to have him back in there. Of course, since opening day 2009. He's been there pretty much every day. He's been available every day up until April 12th of this year. First time he had ever spent on the disabled list, but he's back. Rangers lead by 2. And here in the bottom of the 5th inning, Bartolo Colon continuing to work. Whit Merrifield turned away, and it's 2-1. Top of the order for Kansas City, Merrifield, Alex Gordon, and Mike Moustakas.
Third time through now for Bartolo, and those numbers have been steady second and third time through. 200 batting average against first time, 301 second time, and now here he is third time through, and he has put up a 299 batting average against in these spots. And as he tries to get through this 5th inning, become eligible potentially for a win, so that he could stand alone as the all-time Dominican-born pitcher. MLB wins. Currently tied, of course, with Juan Marichal, but he's got some work to do.
(3-1). Bounced by the mound, deflected to short, and the throw not in time. What a great play, though, by Andrus to recover and even make that close.
You're absolutely right. Really not much more you could do than what Elvis Andrus did on this throw. Now, you're going to see Bartolo Colon, unfortunately, probably cost himself an out. I think Elvis would have got to that ball if Bartolo didn't deflect it. You don't really think about that as a pitcher. You just react. And that's a nice barehanded scoop to even make that a play. Pretty incredible by Elvis Andrus.
So Merrifield is on, and he is a threat to run. 15 stolen bases this year. And Bartolo picked him off.
How about Bartolo Colon? How many times have you heard Jeff Bannister talk about the quickness of his feet, the sneaky athleticism? Well, here's a little note for you. Bartolo Colon. I knew there's a reason why I put these stats down. According to StatsPass, 0 pickoffs in his career. There's number 1. I'm sorry, this year. 23rd overall in his career. This year, 0 pickoffs. First one for him, though, this year for the right-hander.
Oh, big one. Hey, you get a speedster like Merrifield off the bases now. And you can focus on Alex Gordon. Gordon 1 for 2. So Bartolo doing some of the little things. 1-1 to count. Now for Colon, his 3rd start here since the 2015 World Series, in which he pitched with the New York Mets. 2-1, and he was a guy. Bartolo came in game 1 of that World Series was here in Kansas City. Bartolo came in the 12th inning of that game. Pitched a scoreless 12th and a scoreless 13th. 3-1. But then in the 14th inning, it was Colon who was on the mound and gave up the sac fly to Eric Hosmer that gave Kansas City the victory in game 1. The 3-1 pitch, and it's popped foul over to the left and out of play. Gordon batting in the 2-hole tonight for Kansas City. His average was at .253 coming into today. Check swing, and he is on. That's a walk. Time for a Chevy game break. Let's send it back to John Radigan. All right, thanks, John. Phillies, what a story they have been this year.
They're hanging in there, making it interesting. I mean, the Atlanta Braves have been an unbelievable story in the National League East, and they certainly probably surprised, at least their fans are, that they're leading that division by 3.5 games coming into tonight. But the Phillies 5 games over 500, 4 games back. You see it there.
Ooh, another quick move over to first. This time Gordon a little bit more alert. Bottom of the 5th, Rangers lead by 2, and Bartolo he's just at 75 pitches. This is the outside corner.
See Bartolo now in his last couple of at-bats being very careful, trying to work the edges. You see the pitches by inning so far. That 3rd inning got away from him a little bit. 24. And he's been pretty good now. The 13 here, which is 1 out. He's got to be a little careful. It doesn't extend this one too much. The pitch count at 76 is fine, but careful trying to stay away from any kind of deep inning here that would cause Jeff Bannister to get somebody up in that Ranger bullpen.
Well, he goes 3-0 on Moustakas. Now he is, generally speaking, not one to walk a lot of guys. His walks per 9 this year 1.3. That's the 2nd stingiest rate in the American League, second only to the Klubot in Cleveland. There's a liner, and that one is by second and into right field for Moustakas. Gordon has to stop at second. 2 men aboard.
Bartolo always a guy that's going to pitch to contact. You mentioned the great walk rate, and so even here, look at that ball still finished on the corner. Such great late movement, and Moustakas does a nice job of hooking that ball into right field. But he's going to take his chances with contact and hoping someone will hit that ball at one of his defenders. Bit of a breather here as Elvis Andrus and Robinson Chirinos check in with Bartolo.
So there's a visit burned. 2 men on here in the 5th inning and 1 out. Cleanup man, Salvador Perez, right-handed batter, and he hits this one on the ground. That one sneaks through into right field. Gordon into third base. They're going to have to stop him. Mazzara up with that one quickly and throws a beauty to the plate. Mike Jerschley, the third base coach there in Kansas City, very wisely stopping Gordon. Otherwise, he was headed straight into an out.
And Alex Gordon really had to slam on the brakes because he thought he was going to score on this, and probably because it wasn't hit that hard. As you see the turn here, and Alex Gordon, as you mentioned, wisely stopping at that point. Good throw by Nomar Mazzara, even on that little bit of a bobble. He has done an excellent job this year with his throwing, and that one was right on the money. Well, it's unfortunate that Perez was able to find his way on because he was an ideal candidate to try to get that double play, and Bartolo Colon got the weak contact, but wasn't hit at any Ranger. Now bases loaded, 1 out, and Bartolo's got some work to do here against Dozier.
Hunter Dozier, 1 for 2. Infield hit in the 2nd inning. Struck out looking in the 4th. The only strikeout victim so far today for Colon. And just as Bartolo does not walk many hitters, he does not strike out many hitters. See how patient Dozier is. Dozier does not walk very often. Bit of a free swinger, just 9 walks this year to 32 strikeouts. "5-3 Rangers lead, but Colon with his back up against the wall a little bit here. Chopper by the mound. Andrus flips to second. One Profar with a turn in time. Double play.
Oh, good job by Bartolo to make the pitch that he had to make, and even a really smart choice not to try to touch that baseball. Perfectly turned here by the Texas Rangers. They have done it so well with those double plays. Run, well, you pick off the guy that got the first base hit, Bartolo Colon, first pickoff of the year, and then with the bases loaded and 1 out, get a weak ground ball that the Rangers can turn into a double play. That is the 68th double play for the Rangers this season. They came in tied for 7th in all of Major League Baseball. Double plays turned. I mentioned Bartolo, despite the fact that he's got a good ground ball rate, just hasn't had a lot of luck with the double plays, but that was a big one right there. 3rd turned behind Bartolo this season.
Ian Kennedy out as he nears 100 pitches and goes to work in this 6th inning. Struck out Gallo twice so far tonight. Righty's won 1 pitch and this one fouled away. '18's been a tough one for Joey. Strikes out here. 1 gone in the 6th inning. Well, Saturday, June 30th, CJ, here it is. 8:05 game. White Sox and Rangers in the first 15,000 fans get a Rugi and Smokey the Horse bobblehead, courtesy of Golden Chick. Tickets are at TexasRangers.com or by phone 972-RANGERS. You.
Fantastic. Just when you think you've seen the coolest bobblehead, whether it's best friends or maybe Adrian on one knee, whatever it may be, bobblehead folks continue to get creative and outdo themselves.
Oh, how many industries can really boast the same kind of innovation as the bobblehead industry has been able to boast? 1 strike pitch to Chirinos. Takes one just off the plate. Rugi gets the day off today, and he'll be back in the lineup tomorrow. Talking earlier about how Jeff Bannister has to try and shuffle some bodies a little bit now, and trying his best to get 5 days a week in the lineup for a handful of guys, and much fewer positions than that, as the count 1 and 2 now on Chirinos.
It will be a challenge. I think what will be interesting is, do they sway from the plan at all based on performance, right? The idea that you have multiple players that certainly deserve extended looks and considerable playing time. Jurickson Profar is certainly one of those guys. Trying to figure it out. We see him get the start at 2nd tonight. I'm sure we'll see him at 3rd. We'll see him at short once in a while. Elvis Andrus is not on any kind of limitations. That was something that was asked to Jeff Bannister in the meeting today, and saying, well, you're going to try to ease Elvis back in. No, right back to where he was, is the guy you expect to be out there playing shortstop pretty much every game. So barring any injuries to anyone, there's going to be a shuffle going on, and Jeff Bannister is going to continue to try to make that work the best he can.
Chirinos down looking. 2 away here in the 6th inning as we welcome in Leslie McCaslin again.
Well, guys, yeah, and they really feel like Odor has shown them improvement. The things that they've asked him to do, he's done. And certain areas, defense, making the routine plays. And his at-bats, he's taking more walks. He's laying the ball on the ground. There's just certain things this coaching staff has asked him to do, and they've seen improvement. So they're not just going to move Profar into 2nd and not play Odor anymore. So it just gets more complicated with every player that returns.
Without a doubt. And I think what's really interesting about that, too, part of that conversation with Odor, is kind of what he has done lately and the improvements that Leslie was talking about, that Jeff Bannister was talking about, that Anthony Iapoce has seen. And there are some encouraging signs.
Hard ground ball down to 1st. And Dozier puts out Guzman. Complete a 1-2-3. Top of the 6th inning for Ian Kennedy continues to go strong. Last of the 6th coming. Rangers lead by 2. Legendary lager for legendary moments. Rangers fans, this Bud's for you. Rangers lead by 2. Here in the bottom of the 6th inning. Alcides Escobar, Osel Herrera, and Abraham Almonte, the hitters due for Kansas City. And now a little conversation continuing at home plate. Trinos did not like the way his at-bat ended and had a few words for Alfonso Marquez. And then on his way back to the dugout, the fans were kind of getting all over Chirinos. Banny now checking in to make sure everything's okay. You can see Marquez chatting with Chirinos to make sure that those two get things right after the cold 3rd strike a moment ago.
Well, we mentioned some inconsistencies that we have seen from Marquez this evening, especially away to righties. Now, obviously, Robinson Chirinos feels like he's got a pretty good idea where the strike zone is. Now, that one was pretty close on the corner. But again, there were some lefties that were hitting pitches that were more in the strike zone than those on that side of the plate that were called balls.
Fly ball to center field. Escobar, the first out of the inning. Let's look ahead at the Progressive upcoming schedule. 2 more here, both night games tomorrow night and then Wednesday evening. Off day Thursday will be spent in Minneapolis. Get ready for a weekend series against the Twins up at Target Field. And then it's home for a 3-team homestand. The Padres, White Sox, and Astros in town for the July 4th holiday.
You and I were talking before the game. Some opportunity here for the Texas Rangers. They won their last 2. It's the Rockies at home. And then you start to look at that schedule and listen, no team is going to lay down regardless of how the year is going. But this should be a favorable matchup against the Kansas City Royals, who were struggling. Now, the Twins are not as good as expected.
Comebacker and Cologne makes it look easy.
Bartolo channeling his inner Adrian Beltre there after he caught that ball with a little flare. But the Minnesota Twins, 6 games under 500 those, and they're a good team. But there's opportunity here for the Rangers to put a run together. And this is an important road trip. We saw last year, I guess was it pretty close to around this time when they went on that 10-game winning streak. It involved the Padres.
Back in May.
A little more May, okay. So some opportunity to make that happen. The schedule lining up for the Rangers. You got to go out and you got to play good baseball. But with Elvis Andrus back, it's certainly encouraging. Adrian Beltre's been back for a little while now. So maybe they can put a little bit of a run together.
2 quick outs now, and Almonte thinks about bunting. Abraham Almonte, single and a pop-up. Almonte, the former Cleveland Indian. Bounces this one right side. Guzman feeds Cologne, and Cologne missed the bag.
He certainly did. Bartolo hustled over there and wants to talk to everybody about it, even though he knows he missed the bag. He's talking to Bruce Dreckman, the first base umpire. You see it there. That right foot missed, and then it missed again. And Bartolo knew it. He was there in time. Good flip by Guzman. Good job by Bartolo to get there. He just lost track of where the bag was. It's even his facial expression. He's like, oh, you're kind of hoping maybe they won't see it. But he knew he missed it. Error, huh?
Yeah.
So we got to do there, I guess.
Error charged to Bartolo. So they have a base runner now for Mondesi. Mondesi doubled earlier, drove in a run. He also scored. Waves at that one for strike 1. Mondesi has one very unique distinction. That is having made his big league debut in the World Series. Swing and a miss. Count 0-2.
Got his first big league hit in the World Series, didn't he?
He was a single A player who was called up and placed on the postseason roster. And I think the thought was they would maybe be able to use him pinch runner or something like that. Well, I think got on a bat. Sure, did he get a hit or not? Bouncer right side. Guzman going towards second. Flips it out there to Andrus. And they get Almonte to win the inning. So error doesn't hurt. And we go to the 7th inning with the Rangers still up by 2.
With hashtag Hats Off for Heroes. For each post, T-Mobile will donate $1 to support veterans.
5-3, Rangers with the lead already. Now the 7th inning. We get into that bullpen for Kansas City. Brian Flynn, the left-hander, checks in.
Okay, number 21 for him. 19 strikeouts in those 32 innings, so it's not a lot of swing and miss in Brian Flynn's game. See a fastball that averages 92, slider at 86, changeup right around 84. Flynn is about getting those ground balls. Low strikeout rate 5.3, but the walk rate up there a little bit. 43% ground ball rate for the left-hander.
First offering to Shields, and that one right in there for a strike. Now Delino has done really well against lefties. One of the top 10 in the American League, hitting .321 against left-handed pitching. It's this one on the ground left side, deep in the hole. Long throw, not in time, and Delino has an infield hit.
Well, pretty much no chance to get Delino to Shields with a ball that is hit like this. Escobar gave it a run, but with the great speed of Delino, you're just not going to get him in this spot. And once this ball got past Moustakas and you realize he had no chance at it, Escobar did everything he could. You see him rush that throw as fast as he could. That's one of those throws, we talk about this a lot, bounce it in the grass, go in the air. As you see Delino making his way down the line, you got to know your runner. To have any chance if you're going to try to make that play, then you got to throw it in the air. It's when you have some time but you're making that awkward throw that you can afford to throw one in the grass, but not with the speed of Delino.
Delino with 15 stolen bases this year. Same as Whit Merrifield, who was picked off earlier. See Chu, he's had a great day at the plate again today. Home run, double, walk. 0-1 the count.
So I mentioned Flynn, not a really big swing and miss pitcher, and you think, okay, well, must be pretty good against lefties. He's actually struggled against left-handers this year. .303 batting average against. So he hasn't necessarily dominated the left-handers either. And you think about how good Chu has been, the kind of at-bats that he puts against lefties, and you like his chances here.
Oh, Chu trying to bunt, pops it up, and Perez can't get to it. strike 0-2, and Salvi realizes
that's fantastic.
Well, one slipped out there and was immediately embarrassed.
Well, because as he went to chase this ball, he was upset. He didn't see it, and he said something there, and then he sees a little kid, and he's basically saying, "Oh, I should have said that. Don't repeat that. I'm sorry I said that." That's fantastic. A little guilt there, and a story for life.
Don't say anything about it, guys. Just keep that one to yourself. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
I get that from, I don't know if you do it from my kids. It happens. Guys are competitive, and sometimes your competitiveness will get the best of you. I get, Dad, you just said a bad word. All right, well, that's good. At least we're still there for now. They were recognizing their bad words, and we're not saying them.
Snapto over to first. Really quick move there by Flynn.
You don't see this move work very often. Have it in your arsenal just to kind of keep guys kind of alert, but that was pretty close.
Two balls and 2 strikes on Chu. Third pitch of the game, he homered. Like a very deep fly ball. It just kept carrying right over the head of Herrera out into the bullpen in right field. In the dirt, and DeShields heading to second. The throw. Oh, got it.
Well, Delino's frustrated a little bit and doesn't want to leave. Now, I think ultimately what cost him here was going in feet first. Let's take a look here as you see Salvador Perez finding that ball. We know he's got a great arm. Delino looked like he almost started to pull up. I don't want to say pull up, but looked like at first he was going to go in head first and then decided that he was going to stay and go feet first because he thought he might have had it pretty easily. Rangers are going to challenge this.
Interesting. The thing you're talking about right there, when we had that view from behind, he started to tail to the inside part of the bag. And as he was doing that, I'm thinking, well, wouldn't you want to go to the outside part of the bag?
I think he probably thought he had it easily. I'm guessing. I think if he thought it was a close play, he would have stayed to the outside, and he probably would have went head first. It's a quick one here.
Well, when they uphold the call, it is out.
Delino's still out there.
Yeah, he wants to take another look on the.
He's watching on the big screen. Somebody needs to let him know. Look at him. Look at him. The sales pitch. He is still standing on second base.
He's genuinely confused. Hey, listen, I kind of get it. You know, you're not real sure. You think you're safe, and he missed the signal from Alfonso Marquez after he had gotten the answer back from New York. It'd be even worse to walk off the base thinking you were out and then get caught. So anyway, 2-6 the put out. Chu sends this one foul. Out of play. Interesting, the two of the best base stealers in the league tonight, Merrifield and DeShields, have both gotten on and then both been erased. Merrifield picked off and DeShields caught stealing, or rather just a 2-6 put out, and that is ball 4. So Chu's on for a 4th time.
It's amazing the at-bats that he continues to put together against both lefties and righties, and just I start to wonder for Chu, not just the numbers for him, that's one thing, and the streak is another thing, but as far as how well he is seeing the baseball right now compared to maybe the hottest streaks in his career when he has felt the most locked in. I wonder how those compare to what he's doing right now.
First pitch swinging. Elvis rolls to short, and the relay from second gets away. Dozier couldn't get it. So Chua raced on the force out at second base. Andrus on via the fielder's choice.
Weird. It was weird, and this probably should have been a very simple 6-4-3 double play. A little easy two-hopper. Nice toss right there, and it's a bad throw from Mondesi. He had plenty of time. See it there. Just yanked that throw, and Dozier unable to pick it for him.
No error. Not charged with an error on a potential double play. You cannot assume that the second out would be made. So Andrus on. With 2 away and gets Mazzara to the plate. Rangers scored a run in the first. They got 4 runs in the 3rd inning, including a Beltre 3-run homer. They have not scored since. Ian Kennedy won a total of 6 innings tonight, allowed 5 runs on only 4 hits, walked 3, struck out 8, and now Brian Flynn. Flynn's given up a hit and a walk, and yet deals with just 1 base runner at the moment, and there are 2 out. So this is the first of 3 here in Kansas City. Royals have not won a game yet on this homestand. Swept by both Cincinnati and Houston. And this ball hit hard up the middle, goes off the umpire, and there'll be a play at first base. No.
It's good recovery. My goodness, that ball was smoked.
Oh.
It's okay to say it hurt a little bit. Chad Fairchild, second base umpire this evening. You see him right there trying to get out of the way, and that ball caught him right on his left leg. Looked like maybe below the knee, and it's the judgment that he makes there that both runners would stay or go to first and second, but would have been a base hit up the middle.
I mean, in the spirit of the World Cup, that was a pretty nifty little play. Base hit on
only
the dead
on
ball.
Fox.
Only on Fox. New pitcher coming on. Rangers lead by 2.
Here in the top of the 7th inning, an odd play here for Nomar Mazzara, which ultimately will go down as a base hit, and it was going to be a base hit anyway as he smoked this ball right back up the middle, but it caught Chad Fairchild on his left leg, and it's a base hit / umpire's interference, dead ball whenever that happens. And each runner is awarded 1 base. So Nomar Mazar will get his base hit, and maybe more importantly that Chad Fairchild is okay.
Yeah, walking around is Willie Peralta. Checks in the game now, so Flynn is out. Peralta on to face Adrian Beltre. Beltre is homered tonight. Peralta just recalled recently from AAA Omaha. Longtime Milwaukee Brewer, and the count now 1-1.
He spent 6 seasons in Milwaukee. Had a rough year last year in his 19 games pitched, and ERA near 8 for him over 57 innings. He was a starter for a long time. He had 120 starts with the Milwaukee Brewers, but finds himself here in the bullpen and a new opportunity with the Kansas City Royals.
Plate 2-1. He was signed this offseason as a free agent, and he spent the better part of the year at AAA. But it's weird. He's just not that far removed from a year as a starter in Milwaukee, where he nearly won 20 games through almost 200 innings. But taking on a different role here. And now we'll ask for a visit from Salvador Perez. Well, it's the type of thing you used to see so often, so commonly. A new pitcher comes in, maybe after a pitch or two, wants to discuss something again with his catcher, and he come out. But now that sort of seems a little more rare. But a mound visit charged right there.
Second one tonight, right? Is that right for the Royals?
It might
Do they have them on their scoreboard anywhere?
I've been looking for it all night, and it is a rule, a major league rule. They have to be displayed on the scoreboard.
Ah, there it is. I see it in right field, but it says mound visits 5.
Yeah, that's absolutely incorrect.
Yeah. So they don't have to be right. They just have to be.
Just have it posted. Maybe you're right. Just put a number up there.
Safe to say nobody does it better than the way we do it at Globe Life Park. Different cast of characters that comes by. Now, we're not going to follow their lead. Was there something going on when that visit happened? Was there?
You mean just now?
No, I'm saying
earlier,
the
like
other
an injury or something like that. I mean, if there's an injury,
yeah,
you can have a visit that doesn't obviously count, and that is to say, well, the other thing that can happen is if, let's say, the Rangers were used a pinch runner right here, and you want to go out and discuss that, that doesn't count as a visit.
Yeah.
But I don't believe it was any situation like that earlier. That, or you and I are just completely.
Are we confusing the Elvis Andrus visit? Did the Royals not do that? I thought they also had a visit. Either way, we're probably not going to get close to using them anyway.
That actually is how this whole thing started, right? Is it just doesn't really matter that much. The 6, I guess just putting the number on it has made teams more mindful of using them. And so you just don't see those sort of casual encounters like that nearly as often. Andrus at second, Mazzara at first. 2 out here. Those two will be off to the races on this 3-2 pitch. There they go. And there's a swing, and that one lined sharply foul. A smallish and kind of quiet crowd tonight. 18,319 the announced attendance. And very laid back. Of course, they have not done a lot of winning here this year. Overall, the Royals 22-49. As I mentioned earlier, they've lost 26 of their last 36 home games. Beltre and Peralta, a little bit of a stare down here.
I gotta believe you see this many shakes right here. They could be fake shakes, trying to get Adrian Beltre to think about sitting on an off-speed pitch.
3-2. Runners go again, and a swing and a miss at the fastball. And the inning is over. Rangers leave a couple. They will stand and stretch here tonight. The Rangers 5 and the Royals 3.
That's transparency. And by Ford. Visit your local Texas Ford dealer today. Ford is the best in Texas. 5-3, Rangers on top. We go to the bottom of the 7th inning here in Kansas City. And Jake Diekman replaces Bartolo Colon in the 7th.
And there's that pitch arsenal for Jake Diekman. 94-mile-an-hour fastball. You see a lot of those. And then the slider, which has been really good for Jake this season. Pitch sits at 82 miles an hour, and he's used that 38% of the time this year.
His first offering in there for a called strike to Whit Merrifield. It'll be Merrifield, Gordon, and Moustakas, top 3 hitters in the order for Kansas City.
Right, left, left, and you don't really worry too much about Diekman with the right-handers. He's done a really nice job against them. 172 batting average against.
High fly center field. DeShields ranging back and has room. One away. July 3rd and 4th, Rangers will be at home to face the Astros. Final time the Astros come through Arlington this summer. And the Silver Boot Series continues. Tickets available at TexasRangers.com or by calling 972-RANGERS. Alex Gordon now takes ball 1.
So there's that slider. He just missed away with that pitch. 111 batting average. 111 batting average against that pitch this year for Diekman. No home runs allowed on the slider. There's another one. That one misses in. Now, last year obviously was limited action for Jake, but he didn't allow any hits on the slider last year. So a 0 batting average against last year. 111 this year. And I know what you're thinking, Dave. Well, what about 2016? How'd the slider do that year? 068. And his slider the last 3 years has been just flat out nasty. Has not allowed very many hits on it at all. It's always up there as far as his strikeout pitch, which makes you wonder, right? When we sit there and go through pitch usage, and we saw pretty high fastball usage. Of course, Diekman will throw 97, 98 when he's feeling good.
Bouncer up the middle. Andrews is there. 2 away. Time for Chevy game break. Let's say hi again to John Radigan. Well, they have turned things around. He has turned things around, and so is the ball club. 2 away here. Rangers lead by 2, and Mike Moustakas is the hitter.
Started to wonder a little bit for Paul Goldschmidt. Was it just going to be a down year for him? Maybe, right? Great hitters go through those slumps once in a while, but it is looking like it was just a couple of months for Goldschmidt. He has been unbelievable as of late, and the Diamondbacks have needed it. They're in a dogfight right now with the Los Angeles Dodgers. Came in tonight just leading them by a game and a half in the National League West. Hard to imagine that the Diamondbacks could be competitive all year long without a good version of Paul Goldschmidt.
1-2 on Moustakas. Hit in 2 tries today, also a sac fly. Moustakas was one of the real interesting stories this last offseason. Ended up here basically for a song, a 1-year deal with the team he has spent his career. And he's coming off a terrific year last year. Well, he thought he would go out into that free agent market and get paid, but it just did not happen.
That really was a surprise with Mike Moustakas. And you go out, you hit 38 home runs, you set a Royals single season record, and you would think, yeah, this guy would be due for a big payday, but it didn't happen. You see the names there that he passed, Steve Balboni, and then previously Gary Gaetti, who had 35. It wasn't meant to be. He turned down that qualifying offer, which was a little over $17 million this year, if I'm not mistaken.
And then didn't get anywhere close. Didn't even get half that.
I think what did he get, 4.5?
I want to say it was 6.
6, yeah. And that's a shocker. Now, this year for Mike Moustakas, he will not have to deal with the qualifying offer. You cannot receive that qualifying offer 2 years in a row. It's a tough break. There were a lot of free agents out there, especially hitters, who had some pretty good years that struggled to find the payday that they thought they were going to get. There's a change right now in free agency and how the market views some of these hitters. The value of the home run has come down a little bit.
I mean, he's 29 years old.
I know.
Coming off that kind of a year. And it's one thing if the Royals are saying, look, you know, we don't have a lot of cash to be thrown around these days. We need, you know, to head a different direction. But there were no other teams out there interested in a guy his age with those kind of numbers.
I think what killed him was the Angels signing Zach Cozart. That was the one team that had some money that had a third base position. I thought that might have been open. And they went out and they got a shortstop. Was a free agent, finished his free agent years with the Reds, goes into the market, and the Angels decide that he's going to be their third baseman. So that was one of the big matchups. I think Rafael Devers kind of emerging last year for the Red Sox hurt him a little bit as well. And ultimately, it's not just about the year that you have, but what need is there?
Yeah.
And he just really wasn't there.
He lines out to second base here. That's a 1-2-3 for Jake Diekman. Profar makes a nice defensive play. You know what that means, CJ? He's leading off the 8th inning when we come back. Rangers on top as we move this thing to the 8th inning. You know, the 2018 Camping World MLB All-Star ballot is now open and exclusively online. Make sure your favorite Rangers are represented on this year's squad by voting at texasrangers.com/vote. Catch all the excitement of the 89th MLB All-Star Game presented by MasterCard July 17th live on Fox. So Profar made a nice defensive play. He'll start things off here in the 8th inning. 0 for 3 tonight. He's made some good contact, and Willie Peralta's first pitch is fouled back to the screen. Well, you knew that today Elvis would be coming back to play shortstop, and that meant an end to Profar's everyday work at short. But you also had a feeling with the way he had been swinging the bat recently, it'd be awfully hard to keep him out of the lineup, especially today. Yesterday was 2 for 5 with a big home run, a double he drove in for. Two and one to count. And think about Pro, all the various things that have been going well for him this year. Hitting better from both sides now. has been the added power. And we've seen a lot of it. 8 home runs now. 3-1.
Yeah, it's been good to see. I mean, he has come out. He's put good at-bats together. He's slugged. He's been good against good velocities. You see Peralta here throwing 96 miles an hour, which is a little bit of an eye-opener. I mean, he's always had good velocity, but then you start looking at his career track, and here he is at 29 years old. And hard to believe that he found himself in the minor leagues.
Well, he walks to start the 8th inning. Gives us a moment once again for a word from our friends at Kia.
At Kia, get America's best value backed by a 10-year, 100,000-mile warranty.
Well, here's Joey Gallo. And on first, nobody out. Gallo takes one very high for a ball. So head to head with Willie Peralta here. Gallo's looking for just something, anything to fall for him. Needs a little break. And he hits this ball high in the air out to right center field, hanging up forever. Almonte able to grab it, tagging at first profile. He'll go to second. In there. Oh, gutsy base running move by Jurickson Profar, but he moves up a link.
Well, that's good heads up by Jurickson Profar. I think he saw the way that Almonte was approaching that ball, and he wasn't behind it, and maybe the height of that fly ball fooled him a little bit. But watch how high this ball is in the air, and if you can get a look at Almonte, so he's not behind it, and he kind of caught it almost like not quite over his shoulder, but with his back turned to the infield, and he does a nice job of barely getting there. That's on Almonte for not being behind that ball, and a good look and heads up from Jurickson Profar. Here's a good look. Watch Almonte right here. I don't want your right fielder to take this ball because he's coming in behind it, but he got called off, and look at that. Back almost to the infield as he's catching that fly ball. Those again are the little things you look for. Jurickson had some issues on the bases here and there at times, but that is based on what the outfielder is showing you. I would say based on the depth of that fly ball by itself, no, you wouldn't go there. What you start seeing from the outfielder and the way that he's approaching the ball, it was close, but it was a chance worth taking.
Chirinos in a hole 0-2.
Remember, we heard D. Gordon talking about that when we were up in Seattle. He tagged up on Nomar Mazara on a shallow pop-up, and I thought Nomar did a good job, got behind the ball, threw it well, but D had said after the game he thought he saw something in Nomar's feet. He thought he caught it flat-footed. I didn't agree, but D. Gordon's a much better base runner than I am, right?
Well, yeah, he said that he noticed it earlier that he had been flat-footed, not on that play per se.
But those are like the things, right? The tendencies that you look for, which is interesting. And so it's those little things that's encouraging to know that I'm going to assume that's what Jurickson. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt that that's what he saw in that spot. Good heads up.
And Chirinos asked for time. Yeah, I agree. I think as he was back there at first base, had Herrera come in to make that play, as you were pointing out, like at an advantageous angle to make a play to second, if there was going to be one, I bet he holds. He just would hang out. But the way Almonte twisted around for that one, gave an opportunity, still wasn't a gimme, as this one bounces away and goes to the backstop, and Profar will head to third on the wild pitch.
Breaking ball here well in the dirt. We talk about Salvador Perez and the great work that he does. He tried to back pick that one as opposed to dropping to a knee and keeping it in front of him, trying to count on the hands, which will be something interesting to watch with Isaiah Kiner-Falefa. He was talking about that a little bit, right? And his ability to pick. He's got great hands. We've seen it at third base, and he says a lot of times he prefers to try the pick method right there, as you just saw Perez.
Swing and a miss, and Chirinos strikes out for a second time tonight.
That's a tough one, because when you pick him, you're like, oh, that's a great play. When you don't, and it turns into a wild pitch, everyone's like, hey, how come you didn't just block it and keep it in front of you? Kind of a no-win situation.
Now here is Ronald Guzman. Ronald 0 for 3. Man at third, 2 out. Yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see Kiner Falefa behind home plate, because he talks a lot too about just handling it all like an infielder, using his feet, being athletic back there. Rangers have had good success converting infielders to catchers. And our Southwest bullpen live look, Tony Barnett. Looks like he's pretty much set.
Bullpen mic is working. I wonder if that guy knew. They're going to do the live look in now.
Pretty sure he knew. Been waiting 7 innings to get that one in there. Well, now they just put Guzman on. Instead of even throwing the 4th pitch, they just award him first base. So an intentional walk. And it brings up Delano DeShields. Delano had the infield hit in the 7th inning, 1 for 3 tonight. He bunts it first base side, and that is in no man's land. Everybody's safe. Profar scores, and it's 6-3, a perfectly placed bunt by DeShields.
Well, you knew this was going to be a possibility with Delano, especially after the walk and kind of watching Peralta, because that's what Delano's doing when he is sitting on deck or even when he's in the dugout, is watching the current pitcher and what kind of movement does he have coming off the mound. And based on the defensive alignment, he knew if he pushed his ball past the pitcher towards second base, it was going to be an easy base hit, and that's exactly what Delano did.
So a run in, still 2 base runners out there, and now Chu, who's been up to the plate 4 times, and he's reached base all 4 times. 2 walks, a double, and a homer. So with each passing game, we keep an eye on that streak for Chu. 32 straight now in which he has reached, and he's doing a lot more than just that.
Pretty incredible. Look at the average over that time, the 8 home runs, the RBIs, unbelievable on base percentage. Seeing the ball well right now, no doubt. He's always been so good, and that's a talent that just takes some time. You got to have great hand-eye as far as his ability to control the ball to all fields, the good bat-to-ball contact, all of that, but also picking the ball up out of a pitcher's hand, recognizing spin, having an idea of the strike zone, trusting yourself to let close pitches go by. How many times have we seen him take a pitch that's borderline? Always kind of in amazement of that, even with 2 strikes. A lot of confidence, and we're hearing a lot about Chu trying to spread that knowledge around the clubhouse, especially with so many younger players here right now and trying to learn it. Some of it is a skill that you're given. Certainly it's something, at least part of it, that you can learn. That is a mental part of the game that really taps into you and challenges you as far as how confident are you to let a pitch go by in this day and age, especially.
Full count.
Beltre has it. Elvis Andrus has it. I will tell you that I think even Isaiah Kiner Falefa has it. We saw a game where he struck out 3 times looking. So sometimes it's not always going to work out exactly the way that you want it to, but having the patience and discipline to not go out of the zone.
Boy, there it is again. 3rd walk tonight for Chu. And it's also the 3rd walk of this inning. So they're loaded now for Elvis Andrus. And that will earn a visit. So the Royals will talk things over here. See some activity in their bullpen. Everybody out there.
Full team meeting there. A little bit of a breather, a little bit about strategy right here. And even though Elvis Andrus has been out for a while, he is still a really tough at bat. He's drawn a couple of walks himself tonight, so he's seen the ball pretty well first game back off the DL. And you certainly know that one wrong pitch and Elvis can put this game out of reach.
Guzman to Shields and Chu third to first. Cal Eldred done with his visit. And a bouncer up the middle. Mondesi is there, and the inning is done. So the Rangers will settle for the one run. They leave them loaded, but Delano to Shields, 2 hits tonight, including a beautiful bunt single, gets in another run. Rangers lead by 3. Rangers with the 6-3 lead as we go to the bottom of the 8th inning. And a little reminder, Sunday, July 1st, it's a 2:05 game, Rangers and White Sox. And the first 15,000 adults and 2,500 kids get a free Rangers Raglan tee, compliments of Hilti. Tickets are at texasrangers.com or by calling 972-RANGERS. All right, Tony Barnett on here in the 8th inning.
And there's that arsenal for Tony. Fastball, curveball, cutter for him so far this season. Another one of these relievers who's been good against opposite hitters. 185 against the lefties this year. He's also done a good job against the righties at 236. Excellent walk rate this year for Tony, 1.7, and very good strikeout rate at 9.3 strikeouts per 9.
Perez lifts it high in the air out to center field. The Shields going back. He's near the wall, and he'll make the catch. One away.
Big XL there from
Man,
Tony.
And a couple of those tonight. Well, tomorrow we look forward to the middle game of this series and our Ford probables. Yeah, it's the Hamels-Hamel matchup.
Rematch.
I love it.
We had a hammer time game earlier this year. Back at it.
Cole's been pretty good on the road this year, a 2-1 record, a 2.40 ERA. So he may, who knows, Rangers lead by 3 here at the moment. Could be a huge opportunity for Cole Hamels and the Rangers tomorrow. If the Rangers could figure out a way to win this one here and just hold on to their 3-run lead, it would tie their longest winning streak of the season at 3. And if the ace Cole Hamels going tomorrow. Maybe a chance to make it 4 in a row. High fly ball. Shields has had a fairly busy night out there. 2 gone here in the 8th inning.
We got 7 fly balls to the lineup tonight.
Well, I can't count them all.
Why not? I just did. I mean, I'm probably wrong. That's why I asked you.
Oh.
2, 4, 5, 6, 7.
3, 4, 5, 6. Yep, 7. Good work.
Thank you.
Confirmed.
Also interesting, you know, we talk about bullpens and the way that they're used and everything else. That's a big conversation over the last couple of years. And when Jake Diekman, who had the top of the order, 1, 2, 3, did a really nice job. Tony Barnett maybe gets the toughest, 4, 5, 6 here in the 8th inning. What would be obviously save situation. And if he can get Escobar out, then it means for likely Kella that he gets the bottom of the order, which right now is scheduled to be 3 switch hitters, so he would see 3 lefties.
One strike pitch in there. So the count 0-2.
I wonder about that. How much of that goes into the conversation? Kella's been obviously outstanding this year. You want him to get those saves. He wants those saves, but he's been much better against righties than lefties. Hopefully Tony finishes the inning right here. We'll get to see Kella in the 9th.
Escobar stays alive. He does have a hit tonight. Tony, one of those guys who signed back very quickly in this last off season, and that worked out well for him because again, we were talking earlier about some of the dynamics of the off season and how they changed or seemed to pivot pretty quickly. Certainly was the advantage to sign early with a team. And it worked out for Barnett. A bat hop up there on Chirinos, who took one off the neck yesterday. Similar spot. Now that right side of the neck where he trapped it between the helmet and his chest protector in yesterday's game. And here comes Kevin Harmon again.
For Robinson Chirinos, it just seems like it continues to happen for him, and all catchers go through it. He always talks about and says, you know what, it's part of the job. You want to be a catcher. And he started going up, and then you see the ball in the dirt. Does a really nice job. Now the only thing he didn't do was get his head down. It came a little bit late as far as looking down, and so there was a little bit of a gap there, opportunity for the ball to get up under his chin, and unfortunately it did. Bandy certainly can appreciate the work that Robinson is doing back there. He's familiar. Those hops you're not expecting to get you in the throat.
Takes a special individual to want to do that job.
When your kid comes to you and says, I want to catch, you don't know. Unless he can't hit. And then you're like, all right, get the catcher's gear on. Let's see what we can do. We might be able to try to get you to the big leagues that way. These guys are warriors.
1-2 to Escobar.
You've been through it. I've been through it. At the youth level, it's tough to get good catchers, and they make all the difference in the world. When those kids are 9, 10, 11 years old, if you don't have a kid that can catch on your team, oof, it's a track meet.
Yeah, and even if you do have a good kid who can catch on your team, oftentimes it's a track meet. 2-2. There's strike 3 called, and Escobar down looking. It's a quiet bottom of the 8th inning.
A good job by Tony Barnett, who's been throwing the ball extremely well, but a very quiet inning as he goes through 4, 5, and then 6 here, right inside on the corner.
Rangers lead by 3 as we go to the 9th inning. And a little reminder, live coverage of the FIFA World Cup continues tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. It's Colombia and Japan. Followed at 9 o'clock, Poland and Senegal. And at noon, Russia and Egypt get together. The FIFA World Cup Tuesday on Fox and FS1 or on the Fox Sports Go app.
Wait a minute, why isn't Poland in the bigger font in yellow?
Well,
or we hung up here. Who do I need to talk to?
Tom. You got to talk to Tom.
That was his? He made that graphic?
Yeah. Tom basically decides how we present the World Cup.
Go Polska.
Did England win that one today, by the way? I thought they were winning earlier.
I don't have time for television, Dave. I was prepping for the game.
Oh, yeah. I wasn't watching either. Although I did see Kane. A spectacular goal. Here we go. Nomar Mazara. And he hits his ball sharply into left field. Base hit. Well, they gave him a lot of room down that third baseline, and he took advantage of it. Third hit of the night for Nomar.
So we talk about with Nomar, his ability to use the entire field. That was probably a ball just off the plate, but it was up enough for him to handle. Good attack on a first pitch fastball from Grimm for Nomar to get himself a base hit.
Lead man on here. And Justin Grimm will deal with Adrian Beltre. In the air, foul and off to the right side.
Did you see that guy? Was he from Spain, maybe? The guy Nacho? Scored a big goal in the Portugal-Spain matchup.
I did not see that. I read something. I saw some headline or something about.
It's a great name. Not his real name. It's a take off his middle name, but still, it says Nacho on the back of his jersey, which got a pretty good giggle from my 10-year-old.
Sharp ground ball, third. Moustakas to second one, and this time the relay in time and on target for the 5-4-3 double play.
Well, Dave, you're lucky. You were asking about that England matchup.
Yeah.
Just in from my wife. My little guy said England won 2-1.
Nice.
He's got World Cup fever.
I texted Tom today about that. I figured he was running around the living room and swinging the scarf around, going crazy. He said he watched a little bit of the first half, but he was saving the rest of it on DVR to watch later. Yeah.
I'm not there yet.
I think you're going to get there, though. You're going to. You're excited about Poland.
I lost my jersey and scarf almost immediately as soon as I got home. I don't mean lost or I don't know where it is. I mean I no longer possess it. Another family member took over right away. You're gonna have to wait a while before you can wear the scarf.
Well, you can throw it on now. It'd just be a little warm.
Kind of scarf weather here in Kansas City tonight.
Turn the AC down a little bit and get into it. Profar's walked and scored a run in this one tonight. On the way in, 2 balls and a strike. So Grimm on here in the 9th inning. He is the third reliever for Kansas City. Ian Kennedy went 6 innings. Right now is the pitcher of record on the losing side. And we mentioned earlier, Kennedy had won just 1 home game in his last 27 home starts. He's not going to win tonight.
Big smile there from Jurickson and Profar. I think at first, yeah. I'm guessing that he was sitting fastball in this 2-1 count and figuring Justin Grimm was going to throw one, and he did not. There was a slider that was pretty far down in the dirt, and Jurickson and Profar decided he was going to swing anyway. Missed that by a pretty good amount.
The dirt, full count.
And lays off that one. You'll see guys do that. Sit fastball, take a big hack. And Jurickson, for the most part, I think we've seen his swing under control. But I'm guessing here that he was guessing fastball. Watch this swing. He missed that by a lot. But it happens. That's not uncommon. And you see him smiling about it and having a good laugh. Probably hear about it. It may even come up in kangaroo court.
3-2. And a bouncer on the right side of the infield. Mondesi right there. And the inning is done. So the Rangers don't add to the lead in the 9th inning, but they have a 3-run lead to the bottom of the 9th. And that means Keone Kela coming in to try and save another. All right, thanks, John. Looking forward to it. Keone Kela on here in the 9th inning. He's got the last 3 hitters in the order for Kansas City. Osel Herrera takes a strike. It's 1-1.
It's been a good year for Kela. Here is the pitch arsenal. Great fastball, 97 miles per hour, and the curveball very similar to Jake Diekman in the sense that he uses a 2-pitch mix. It's curveball instead of a slider for Kela, but at times he can make that breaking ball look like a slider. Times where it gets a little smaller, gets a little bit bigger, he's able to manipulate it in a couple of different ways and almost disguise that pitch. But it is a power breaking ball, and you saw it right there. Legitimate 12-6 break to go along with the high-powered fastball.
Two and two the count. Kela 15 saves and 15 tries. In fact, going back to last year, 17 straight conversions for him. And strike 3 called. So Herrera down for the first out of the 9th inning.
Good way to start things off here for Kela. You're going to see the breaking ball, tight rotation. I mentioned some are big, some are small. That one was a little smaller and tighter compared to the other ones that Herrera saw. That's the 25th strikeout this season that Kela has recorded on that breaking pitch compared to 6 on the fastball.
So now Almonte, and the fastball runs inside.
97 with some natural cut on it. I don't know if Kela necessarily wanted the pitch to do that, but not just high velocity, but some pretty good life on that ball.
Upstairs, 2-0. Monte singled earlier, also reached on an error, and he's popped up once. Good fastball. 2-1.
It's a really good combination. I think Kela is one of those guys where you can throw out kind of the traditional thoughts on where you want to locate your fastball. Not that he can't throw it at the knees, he can. But that spot right there, even though he was trying to go down, up in the zone, I think is where you'll see the most success, especially at that velocity. Right, look at the glove of Trino. Started down at the bottom of the zone, but it finishes at the top, and that's okay. That's a good spot to miss with the Kela fastball, because if he throws the breaking ball right now out of that same tunnel, same spot, good chance Almonte is going to spin himself into the ground if he swings at all.
2-2. Just off the plate. The last 10 games, which includes tonight, opposing hitters just 2 for 28 against Kela with 12 strikeouts. 0.71 batting average. Payoff pitch. There's a bouncing ball, shortstop. Andrews is there waiting. 2 away.
Good job by Kela on the full count, just to go ahead and split the plate with the fastball. Don't be afraid of contact in that spot. You don't want to pitch to corners. You don't want to walk a hitter going for the strikeout, and Almonte hits him a nice easy ground ball. I kind of disagree with something you said earlier, and I mean way earlier.
Shocker.
Like earlier today, when we were talking about were ribs such a good idea for lunch, because they were kind of messy, because Kansas City, of course, is a barbecue sauce town. Well, even though I washed my hands a couple of times, I can still smell the barbecue sauce on my hands. And so here I am in the 9th inning, feeling like I'm winning.
Oh,
yeah. So you were wrong.
Working out well for you.
It is working out well.
Would ask that
wrong
you
again, Raymond.
please don't handle my binoculars anymore tonight. Really appreciate that.
You wouldn't want to smell barbecue sauce while you're looking out in the bullpen?
Don't want your schmutz all over my stuff. 1-1 on Mondesi. A high fly ball. Now DeShields was very shallow. Long run to get back there, but he does, just in front of the wall one last time tonight. And this one is over. Kela has saved his 16th and is preserved a win for Bartolo Colon.
Take a look at the replay. Look where Delano DeShields is right now, and look how far he has to go to be able to get this fly ball. Now, it was up in the air a long time. Good concentration, good route, and he pulls it in easily, and Delano's night is over, and it was a good one for him defensively. Good night for the Rangers overall. And you mentioned Bartolo Colon, now the only man with the most wins of a Dominican-born pitcher, and it was a pretty good night for Bartolo.